Hello! If we are being real, 1 year ago, we started this crazy adventure. Argos TV. So, welcome to 1 year of Argos TV. This is the new Argos TV. We've learned so much and we got a pretty exciting show. So, if you are looking to watch old episodes, we are uploading them to our YouTube channel at Argos TV, or Argos Stream on YouTube. And if you go to argostv.stream, that's our website, and you can watch all those episodes on that as well. Find merchandise, help support us, help keeping this adventure going. Well, I was tongue-tied on that. Justin will be here a little bit later. He's, as we all know, a little bit better at speaking to the camera, and he'll be doing some songwriting. We're happy to have him back, and in the meantime, we are going to have yoga tonight, as usual. So if you are looking to do a little yoga with us, Randy will be doing one of his yoga classes from 7 to 8. We have a new episode of My Idaho Friends. Jaime is going to be talking to Ryan Voss, and that's going to be really fun. So that's the normal time, 6 to 7. Probably not all the way to 7. It's going to be a little bit shorter. So James has some treats, some promotions and whatnot mixed in there. So you can tune in and check those out. Be Wise Gardens is talking about spring dividing. They will be here their normal time at 5:30, and then before I come back again and do some work on Oh Dear, Sarah Weber is going to talk to us about selective thinking before she leads her meditation. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Hey there, I'm Sarah Weber, the Brain Cleanup Coach, and this is your 10-minute mindset fix on selective thinking. I came up with this idea earlier today through an experience I had, so let me share that with you. I decided I wanted to sit outside on my porch and meditate, and I live in the mountains of Idaho. And it's still pretty chilly out in the morning, but the sun hits my porch just right, and it warms up, and I can even sit outside with short sleeves on. And as I was meditating with my eyes closed, when your eyes are closed, you start to hear a lot of sound. And I started to notice the cacophony of birdsong around me. I could hear crows, and I could hear several other species of songbird. And it was kind of noisy, to be quite honest with you. Really cool to listen to, but it was a lot of noise. And I was thinking to myself, well, gosh, these birds, they must hear all this noise too. And how do they, cut through that noise? And I guess, the way that their ears, or however they hear, the way that they hear the noise, they can selectively grab the bird song that belongs to their species, right? Because that's how they communicate. And so the same with people. If we think about being in a busier restaurant, there's a lot of noise going around us. There's a lot of voices and a lot of conversation. But typically, unless it's really, really loud, we can hone in on the person we're there with and hone in on our own conversation. And I'm assuming the same with birds, even with this cacophony of bird song and noise around in the environment, they can pick up on what they need to pick up on. And as I was meditating, I realized that that's kind of what meditation does for our thinking. It creates selective thinking, because meditation is all about focusing. It's about bringing your mind back from distraction to a place of focus. And in that way, we get to think the thoughts we select to think on a regular basis, rather than just having our mind fire off all those noisy thoughts. And that's not to say that the mind isn't going to fire off the noisy thoughts, but the skill that you learn through meditation helps you keep coming back to the selective thought that you want to focus on. So, applying that to, say, a goal that you want to reach, you can think about, well, what is the selective thinking that I need to do? What is the selective thought that I really need to help rise above all the noise that I can concentrate on and that is going to help me with my future, with what I want to plan for my future? So let's go ahead and do a meditation together. And we'll go ahead, get into the meditation. And then I think we'll do like a mantra today, a thought. We'll come up with a thought for you that you can put on repeat in your mind for a little bit and practice focusing on. So you can practice selective thinking. Okay, but let's first just get comfortable. If you're in a chair, go ahead and let your body just kind of relax. Do have your back upright, but you don't need to be rigid and uncomfortable. You can definitely, put your back against the back of the chair if you're in a chair, but just make sure that you're upright. Both feet on the floor, don't have your legs crossed. And we're going to go ahead and start with 3 deep breaths. You're going to take the inhale in through your nose, and then you will exhale through your mouth. We'll do 3 of these, and on the 3rd exhale, we'll close our eyes. Let's go ahead and begin. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And on this final exhale, go ahead and close your eyes. Now for a moment, let's get selective about what we feel with our bodies and give yourself a moment to register the pressure that you feel sitting against the chair that you're in. So maybe you feel pressure on your hamstrings and your backside. And if you're leaning against the back of a chair, you feel that on your back. Perhaps you feel a little pressure on your feet where the bottoms of your feet are touching the floor. Be selective and feel those areas of your body right now. Now go ahead and bring your attention to your breath. And feel how your chest rises and falls as you inhale and exhale. There's no need to change how you're breathing. You can breathe at a natural pace, but just let it come into your awareness, that feeling of the rise and fall. And now let's go ahead and bring a thought to think in our minds. And here's the thought I'd like to suggest to you. And it is this: I am working towards, and insert your goal there. So whether it's maybe a health goal, a business goal, a goal related to a hobby or creating something, a relationship goal, I am working towards blank, and I can cut through the noise. Let me say that again for you. I am working towards, and state your goal. And I can cut through the noise. Go ahead and just let that mantra, that thought, repeat through your mind a few times now. And now let me go ahead and suggest one more mantra that we're going to repeat just a couple times. The first half is the same. I am working towards blank. And I know what to think about it. I am working towards, state your goal, and I know what to think about it. Let that repeat a few times in your mind. Okay, and go ahead. Bring your attention back to your breath. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. And open your eyes. And knowing what to think about it just means that you can choose those selective thoughts. You know what to think in order to move yourself towards your goal. What diverts you or distracts you is just all that extra noise. When you forget that you do have the ability to cut through the noise and focus your thoughts to support what you want to create in your life. Thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you, Sarah. That's always wonderful. And we're going to do 30 minutes of drawing now. Leaving off from last week, I did not do a 0.5 this week. We got to show a fun time lapse of Cody learning how to use a little vacuum seal thing on the YouTube channel. So if you get a chance, check that out. First half is him trying to figure it out. The second half is him making an amazing dinner. So this is where I left off last week. I'm going to fill this in, and then I'm going to start impromptu over here. This is going to get me in the zen. I'm going to think of something. I have not thought about what I want to put here because I kind of wanted to see where my mind takes me today. Thank you, and thanks for sticking with me. Oh, you didn't see that, I'm sure, but one of my packets just popped in. Yep, there it goes. So, if maybe we could take a quick break and I could get one of the guys to come and help me hang this back up. Or not. Help? James? Help? I asked. Can you come in here and help me hang this back up? The drawing fell.
Oh, no.
Can you hold this up here and I'll go?
Yeah. How'd you do this?
It popped out. I was talking about it.
Nope.
Well, that's live television for you folks.
That one went a little further back. I think it went in the back.
If you can help me grab another one out of the thing.
There it is.
I will keep working on this.
Oh, goodness.
I have not had that happen before. But then again, it's not taped on like the other one was, so. So, if you're doing this at home, don't forget to back up with tape, or your tacks will shoot out of the wall and your pictures will fall on you too. Thank you. So I did all of these stems coming up, and now I'm filling in so I can kind of sharpen up their leaves, which is kind of fun. Gives me an idea of what they're going to look like. And then I haven't quite decided. I think I'm gonna fade it in lighter, not so dark. Maybe, we'll see. Once we start going around the dough. That's so funny. I was like, let's get some Zen going and then I'll figure out what I'm gonna do over here. And then it pops off. Maybe it's just in protest that I wasn't working on that other half today.
But I'm gone. You gotta keep it a buck to my face. Taking and getting out of space. Best if you stay in your place. They hating on all of my songs. I don't know what can I say. They throwing shots, but I'm saved by His grace. God is the shoot, I'm the lace. Running around got me stoned. Feels like I'm stuck in the maze. Shoot at the Oculus a case. They sipping only 96. I can do it on my own. Yeah, they judging me off my mistakes. This floor is so heavenly. Most of my friends and a friend of me. They're trying to bring out the beast. I'm batting 1,000. My game is elite. Running around in the streets and trying to catch up, but they still can't compete. I thought they got in my sleep. He told me keep going, guess you got to leave. Count it up. the brodies came through, then we added up. They was asking me questions, I had it up. I've been running with God, I just leveled up. They won't speak to my face, got that antidote. They've been putting me on like I'm one of those. I can see what they hate, that just ain't me. Tell me a place that I can't go. I don't think they get it, they don't understand. Do it for my homies and my fam. They don't see the vision, they just see the band. Eyes on the money like a rubber man. That is number one, I follow his command. You can try it, you won't get a chance. I keep on going till I can, and abiding by his plan. They tryna hit me, I'm running the race. I gotta pick up the pace. They throwing shit, but I'm gone. You gotta keep it a buck to my face. Taking out of space. It's best if you stay in your place. They hating on all of my songs. I don't know what can I say. They throwing shots, what I'm saved by his grace. God is the shoot, I'm the lace. Running around, got me stoned. Feels like I'm stuck in the maze. Shoot at the Oculus a case. They sipping only 96. I can do it on my own. Yeah, they judging me off my mistakes.
Silver step into the play, you bet I'ma hit it. What I'm doing in this game, I'm getting a scrimmage. Rappers wanting all this beef and burning up bridges. Deep down they dealing with pain, they just wanna admit it. Won't stop till I get it. Speed it up when I'm winning. It's silver and underfund on period, no sin. So trying to give me the fit.
Used up another one of these little teeny tiny pieces of chalk, it looks like. And
Sacrifices for this. I can fake, had to cut off some friends. Vision late ever since the beginning. Go get the bad, then bring it in. Every L was a lesson you did. Out of nest, had to handle the biz. I bought a what you call it, and it's chilling right over the fridge.
now, what am I gonna do on the other side? I don't have anything picked out. But I think I need something that reminds me of the upcoming spring. It's not there yet. I'm afraid to just start drawing on it. Sometimes that happens. But I can still come in and get more layers on the stag. There should be many, many, many more layers of color for him. Huh. The doe has a nice brown layer and gray layer floating in on her, so let's just get another touch in here. Blend it with my hand. How's that? Okay, before I get too crazy with that, and then figure out how I want to blend some of that, because as I was doing with the black, I might actually want to get in there with those colors. I just need to look at it for a minute. You, if you wanted to chime in and let me know, could probably see a little bit better because you have that distance. I'm right up here, so I'm not going off of a picture. I'm just going off of a thought now because I don't have the picture with me anymore. So anything can happen if you're not careful. You can go too far. Okay, so that all branding will happen later once we look further at it and what needs to happen. Oof, gosh. It's one of those moments where you're like, I don't want to stop. Okay. All right, I'm going to step back. Yeah. So I see those hindquarters. Those are gonna need a little bit more shape because I brought in a little bit more of the dark. So I wanted to kind of like get a feeling that he was stepping back away from the dough. So I'm gonna have to work that a little bit more here in a little bit. But that's gonna take some thought. That's not something that I need to just start adding more to. I need to like really step back, look at it, assess it, and do a sketch drawing on that you won't be able to see. So we have this spot right here. And it's something that I want to do with the horn now. I'm thinking this is incomplete. This is a feeling right here that just needs to be resolved. So how do I keep this feeling? Because I like it. I like this feeling. I'm not comfortable with the extra horn coming up over here, but I also don't want to lose too much and just make this all dark. I like this darkness going on. And it's a bit surreal. So how can I make this happen? What do I need to add to this scenario so that this gets to stay mostly black? And let's kind of think about it for a second. Take my little pencil. Look around. What inspires me right now? I really liked the warm weather this weekend, before Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday got crazy. And that is one serious crazy storm we ended up having. The rain on all the cars. Anybody else have to wait a whole day because the line to the car wash is just too long when you got there? I never had to wait in the line. Cody did it for me. That was pretty awesome. Let's see, so we've got some flowers over there. It is springtime. I've been seeing some blooms coming out of the darkness of winter. We've been going a year with the COVID. People are starting to feel better, get vaccines. Some people are making choices not to. Everybody has something going on still. What do we put here? Oh, I read something when I was writing up for the Be Wise. They had their butterfly. That was fun because the butterfly has a fluid when they're cocoons. It's like antifreeze that kept them warm in their cocoon through the winter so that they wake up and become butterflies. Is it butterfly time yet? Is that what I need? Can can I think of a butterfly right now? Also, there could be a tree that's blooming right here too. So I could have some branches. I could have a tree that has a lot of little flower buds coming down off of it. Like the one I started over there. Let's see. Gosh. This is tricky. I thought it would be easier for me just to spontaneously draw something in this spot. It usually is. I usually don't think about it. Well, there we go. Started the tree. Okay, so full disclosure, I got trees on my mind. I've been working on the Ancestry.com, building my family tree. So, probably symbolic, right? Just like the last picture, always got to bring the family into it. It's Easter this weekend. Easter egg hunt sounds fun. Like, actually on Sunday, right? Is Easter not next weekend, but this weekend? Like the first weekend in April is Easter? Tomorrow is April Fool's? Saw some funny, punny jokes lately. Let's see. I'm gonna try and tell one, but I'm so bad at trying to get them out without. Reading them. So the Lego store opened up again since the lockdown, and people were lined up for blocks. Thank you. Thank you very much. I can hear you all laughing from here.
Step into the play, you bet I'ma hit it. What I'm doing in this game, I did in a scrimmage. Rappers wanna know there's beef and burning up bridges. Deep down they dinner with pain, they just wanna admit it. Won't stop till I get it. Speed it up when I'm winning. It's silver and undefined, period, no sin. They're tryna give me the fit. I'ma say Jesus and risk it. Treasure in heaven, generation with them, I pass the baton on my kids. Had to make sacrifices for this. I can fake, had to cut off some friends. Vision late ever since the beginning. Go get the bad, then bring it in. Every L was a lesson you did. At the nest, had to handle the biz. I bought a whatchamacallit, and it's chilling right over the fridge.
They tryna at me, I'm running the race. I gotta pick up the pace. They throwing shade, but I'm gone. You gotta keep it a buck to my face. Taking that gang out of space. It's best if you stay in your place. They hating on all of my songs. I don't know what can I say. They throwing shots, but I'm saved by His grace. God is a shoot, I'm the lace. Running around, got me so man. Feels like I'm stuck in the maze. Shoot at the opposite case. They sipping only 9 states.
I used a different chalk, by the way. Whoa! We just went dark. Which is odd because we're plugged in. We have a tree. Yay.
Well, you've got like 1 minute left down.
Okay. Well, I made it for my 30 and I got a tree. So, let's see. I want to step in front of my tree. There we go. Thank you.
Be Wise Gardens is a family-run boutique garden design firm. They specialize in edible landscapes, habitat gardens, water-wise plants, education, and gardens and containers, all the way to elaborate sanctuaries for your environment and well-being. Let them help you create your dream garden.
You're 21, right?
What? Oh, yeah. Just graduated.
Wait, what? Just graduated?
What?
You just said you just graduated.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm getting a call. Yeah, hey, I'm just at JD's getting beer. I know, I can't believe I'm finally 21. I'll call you back.
Let me see your ID. You're 32. Chip. Receipt?
Nah. The beard's fake.
Just go.
So sweet. And I dare just speak so soft. Don't try to undress me. No, nobody outside of. Nobody outside of. Nobody outside of. Hey.
stakes are high. And the guy who runs it figures the average is all day long and all night long. Once in a while, he lets you steal a pot. But if you stay in the game long enough, you've got to lose. And once you've lost, there's no way back. No way at all, no way at all.
me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Ooh. Let me know what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, darling, hold my hand. In other words, oh dear, just kiss me. And fill my heart with song, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, oh darling, I love you. Fly me to the moon, oh let me play among the stars. Let me know what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, darling, hold my hand. In other words, oh dear, just kiss me. And fill my heart with song, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true, oh dear. Yeah, in other words, oh, in other words, in other words, darling, I love you. Oh, but I do, but I do, but I do, but do, ba ba do, skeetin' that's a buzz, a buzz, a buzz, a buzz, a buzz, a buzz, a Hey, thanks.
Howdy, y'all. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day here in Boise, Idaho. Thank you all for joining us here on Argos TV, and welcome to Songwriting. I'm back. It is the last day in March, so we're going to write some music. I really like writing in C because it's easy and I'm lazy. So I think we're gonna do a little bit of that. It's kind of C major structure going on. that down. Realistically, because it's gonna be. It's an F minor. Is that F major? No, because. Derp. Talking G. It's kind of a G4 to F. See. My love, my heart, my love, my heart. My heart. Please tell me all the. Please tell me all the. Do-do. My love, my heart, please tell me all the. So this is becoming more of the verse. I still like that other piece. Please tell me all the secrets. No, don't like secrets. Please tell me. Do-do-do. Please. Where to start? Please tell me where to start. Please tell me where to start. I'm yours forevermore. I'm yours forevermore. I'm yours forevermore. My love, my heart, please tell me where to start. I'm yours forevermore. You're the person choose. You're the person I choose. My love, my heart. Yeah, I don't really like that second line there. Goodbye. My love, my heart. Tell me sweetly. And here's where my page turns into a giant mess. Tell me sweetly everything. We'll do that for right now. And I'm yours forevermore. You're the person I choose. It's definitely been 2 weeks since I've done this. I can feel it. Today's going to be a little bit rusty. Bear with me. But this is the hardest part, is staring at the blank page and deciding you're not going to let the page defeat you. So dramatic. My love, my heart, tell me sweetly everything. I'm yours forevermore. You're the person I choose. Be helpful if I spelled your properly. Shane would get after me for that. Tell me now. Yeah, I've definitely done a good job of mucking that up. I like this pen. Tell me now, and tell me true. Tell me now, tell me true. I don't know where I'm going with this right now. Go come back to that one. So for the last like 8 or so minutes here, I'm gonna start something new. No, that's too similar. Since I'm not a big fan of that register, but I like this. Yeah. Taking pictures Taking moments, watching the world go by. Taking pictures, seeing moments, watching the world go by. Taking pictures. There we go. Taking pictures, seeing moments, watching the world go by. Watching the world go by. So instead of using the white keys, I'm using just the black keys right now. And this is the pentatonic scale. So it feels a little bit more amorphous. It kind of gives a little bit more breathing room. It doesn't actually feel like that's a little bit more major, but that's not necessarily major minor. There's definitely a lot of tension and movement, which is nice. And taking pictures, seeing moments, watching the world go by. Through the mirrors, through the glasses. And honestly, I'm singing about a camera right now, so that's where we are. Through the mirror. Through the lenses. That's better than the glasses. Through the mirror, through the lenses. I've witnessed many things. World's a changing. Kids all grown up. World's changing, kids all growing. Yeah, that's better than growing up. All right, folks, that's all the time I have for today. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you're enjoying these writing sessions. If you are, please leave comments. If you have suggestions for songs, again, down in those comments, either on Facebook or if you're watching this on YouTube. These will also start getting posted to my personal YouTube page, so look me up as Jeston Cole, Jeston Cole. And until next time, enjoy your week, have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy Be Wise Gardens, and then a great new episode of My Idaho Friends with Ryan Vasso.
Hi, it's Gabrielle from Be Wise Gardens, and we want to talk today about, last week we talked about just kind of spring to-dos and things that you need to get done or can do and things you need to wait another month for. But today what we're going to talk about is the things that you need to move or deal with or throw away or, prune away, kind of where things have overseeded or they have just gotten too big and you can divide them. And we're just going to walk around the yard and kind of look at those situations. Not everybody obviously is going to have the same plants or the same spread, but you can basically get what you can get out of it. We have a new camera person today who keeps trying to make me laugh the whole time. So if I totally crack up and roll around, you'll know why. But anyway, so we're going to go over here first because this is one of the most obvious areas, and it's where all of the poppies from last year have reseeded. And of course, they're not growing where I planted them last year. They're growing where the seeds fell. So follow me this way. I've already cleaned up a whole bunch of this. Actually, every single crack in this little pathway was completely full of poppies. And obviously they get about this tall, so we don't want those in our path. But I do want them in the bed. Some did fall in the bed where they were growing before, and I'm going to kind of let those grow and see what happens and see how they produce. Some of these at the very edge, I'll probably eventually take out, or I'll have to put some kind of barrier to hold them from just falling over because they're not extremely stable on their own. They usually grow really well in clumps. So I'm just going to stick my shovel in the ground here for a minute and show you when you do have things in the cracks. There's lots of different tools. You can even just use an old knife, like a steak knife or a butter knife, to do something like this. This is called a hori knife. It's one of our favorite tools. It's ancient. It's from Japan and China. And they use them to weed, basically, and to prune. There's a serrated edge, there's a pointy end. But what this is really good for is that it doesn't disturb a big area like a shovel would do. And so then you can get into small areas like this and get rid of very tiny plants without making a really big mess or having to move your pathway to get them out. And so you basically just find where its little root is coming through, and you can use the sharpness of the knife to pop this out and get rid of those weeds. Or they're not even weeds. I mean, yeah, you would consider anything can be a weed if you don't want it where you want it. And in the places where these were easy to dig out, I actually put them in flats and pots and put them out at my sidewalk for people to take for free. And with certain plants like a dandelion or a thistle, you want to try to get this whole entire root, because otherwise if there's any section left underground, it'll just grow back again. And that's not the case with something like this. Once you pull even part of it, as long as you get root material in there, it will permanently be gone. For this season, of course, and of course, because I've left poppies nearby, they will reseed in this again. And that's, as a gardener, you get to decide, oh, that's too much trouble, and I'm not going to put something near my pathway that's going to seed, because basically every single year you would be doing this. And so as a gardener, you get to decide, what do I want to spend my time on? Do I want to spend my time, doing this type of thing? Do I want to spend my time just enjoying my garden? Do I want to spend my time deadheading lots and lots of flowers? Or do I really just like foliage or grasses? You really have to make that decision, because gardening, no matter what, is effort and time and maintenance. And landscapes, you can kind of put them into place and let them go, with very minimal maintenance. They still require maintenance, but not the same as like a cottage style garden, of course. So that's one way of editing when things seed and spread. The next thing we're going to talk about is when something gets so big that you need to dig it up completely, or it's called dividing. Find my pocket. So we're going to take the shovel, and this is not, the reason I'm using this shovel, this is actually a trenching shovel. It's very narrow and long, so that you can dig trenches for sprinklers or any manner of things. But the reason I like it for divisions is because, again, it disturbs the least amount of area as opposed to a big wide shovel. And I can also get it a little bit deeper, or I can only use the very bottom of it, more like a trowel, but it has the leverage and the strength of a shovel. So we're going to go to a different area and look at how to do that. But before I get to where I'm going to dig, I want to show you another plant that has spread a lot. And this is just kind of a decorative thyme. It's supposed to be, the marketing always shows that it's like a steppable thing. You can put it in pathways, you can put it between pavers, and it'll kind of spread between those pavers. Interestingly, it does out here where it's spreading, it's very thin, and you probably technically could walk on it, but of course the plant would not like that. It would crush it in a lot of ways. And then in the middle, it's this really big puffy heap. And so if you wanted to divide this, you would have to, because the plant crown is still right here, you can feel it because it's pretty hard right where it came out of the pot. And then out here is where it's like widening out. So you would have to very carefully look under here, and I just did pull some, and look for what are, at one point they're aerial roots until they find soil. And then, so I could cut this right here, if you want to come in real close to this root system, I could cut this and replant this. And then I would have another chunk of thyme. You don't have to let it just keep spreading and becoming this kind of crazy mound, because if it's right next to other plants, or it's near something else decorative that you're doing, like this rock, then obviously that isn't ideal. That isn't what you want. And so this year I'll probably pull some of this back and cut it and move it around, because it does have a really pretty fuchsia flower in the spring. So we're going to move over to here. Excuse me. And this is a plant called yarrow. This is a native species, and it's just a plain white. And so it's extremely vigorous compared to the ones that are really colorful and bright, bright flowers. And you can see that this plant was originally planted, it was a 6-inch pot, and it was planted about here. And this is year 2. And so it had one whole season of growing, and then it had another whole season, and so this is going into year 3. And it has spread. Much like the thyme that I just showed you, I don't really want it in this decorative edging, because the reason we have this edge here is so that things don't fall into the lawn and then they get hit by the string trimmer. And so I want to keep everything back, about this 10 inches from the edge of the lawn. Now this may not be here. We may be putting in rock pathways, but it is for now. So and you can see that I've already shoveled out a couple of sections that I've given to people, but I still need to deal with these. And so I'm going to start with my hurry knife because these are small, and get my hair out of the way. And I'm going to just move my mulch, whatever your mulch is, and I'm going to just kind of determine, is this like a system right here where it's like coming off of a root, or are these individual plants? Sometimes you don't know until you do some experimenting with different plants. Some plants, like those poppies, they replant and they're single seeds, and you have one plant and there's that plant. Some things grow off of like a system, a root system. And so as I'm moving the soil, that's what this looks like, right? Because I was digging up this plant, but now all of these are moving. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a chunk. And again, this is only if you're saving it to like transplant it, give it to somebody else. I'm going to knock my rocks off. And then I'm going to show you, I don't want a ton of this. That circle is big enough. But you can see in here that their roots like travel along a line. And they weren't necessarily all connected, but they are coming off of that mother plant, so to speak. And other things that are mixed in here are garlic, and so that's another thing that could be easily transplanted. The garlic is right there. We also grow chives in this garden, so it technically could be a chive as well without breaking open and smelling it. Nope, it's garlic. And so this, technically I could just take it and I could plunk it somewhere else and get, you know, a garlic bulb at some point. And so what I'm going to end up doing is just going along in this area and slowly popping these out and creating back to that space, because again, it's coming over into this pathway. And again, these plants are about this tall, so I don't want them blocking a pathway. Mixed into this is a lot of grass, which nobody wants grass mixed into their flowers, because the grass kind of keeps growing and spreading and growing and spreading. And so the only way to completely get rid of that without hurting the plant is to dig the entire thing up, so like right here, there's a piece of grass and a plant. So if this was the whole crown, I would dig this out. Here we've got a flower mixed with a grass. And it's funny because, get up close to this, this is hilarious. So this is the flower root, the yarrow. The grass is actually growing right through the center of that root. So look at that, it's threaded right through it, and the root has continued to grow. That is, I've never, ever, ever seen that. Look, I can slide that right off. So that grass literally sliced a hole in the root and grew through it. And so you can see where you could pull and pull and pull and pull and pull and pull grass. And because it spreads by rhizome, which its root system is sending out these nodes that are then becoming more grasses. And it's just continuing and continuing and continuing, much like a stand of birch trees or aspen trees that are just growing off of a root system. And so grass is one of those things where you either just have to let it go and it becomes a meadow, or you have to get it gone. The only way to do that in this kind of a situation is to dig this circle up for whatever. You can see that it's come in here as well. And this used to all be lawn. And so the grass is just, it survives. And so we'd have to dig all of this up, work all the grass back out of it, and then plant the chunks of yarrow that I want to save. It would probably take me about, 30, 40 minutes to do that, but then it would be done. And slowly, eventually, especially if you've taken over lawn to create garden beds, we did cover this with sheet mulching, and we did, everything we were supposed to do, but grass is one of those invincible things. And eventually we will get it to where there is no grass in here, other than maybe the odd seed that gets dropped or blown in. And then we can easily maintain it. And then some grasses, so that one was by rhizome. Some grasses are bunch grasses, and usually those look differently. These are all rhizominous. This is more like a turf lawn. And they wanted that because they wanted, if you had a section of turf die, They wanted the grass to go over and fill in that hole. And it was developed that way. Well, of course, then once people started putting beds next to lawns and all of that, now there's some really cool turf lawns that are, each one is an individual plant, and it doesn't spread into beds, which is ideal. But in a sense, it's not. If you had pets or you have dry out spaces, then those spaces you would have to reseed because they're not going to fill in with their own root system. So those are the things you got to juggle when you're deciding about landscape. So we're going to walk around a little bit more, and I'm going to show you some things where they've spread, and they probably spread by seed because they're too far away from the original plant to necessarily be a root system. So in this bed over here, we have a couple of, what happens is with certain plants is that you plant them so that the shortest things are in the front, the tallest things are in the back, and then inevitably something moves, and then it's a shorter thing and it will get lost amongst the tall things. And so right here, you see this is a hardy geranium, and then there's another one right there. And I'm not really sure because I didn't plant these in here where these necessarily came from, but they're not very tall. And so because I don't want this to just get lost in here, and this bed is going to get a major redo anyway, this is where I'm going to dig something like this up. So you're going to put a circle around it, you know, give it a nice root ball. If it's something you want to save, again, if you don't want to save it, if it's just like, oh, I have too many of those, then you just dig it up and throw it away. And you don't even worry about how big the root ball is. You can get it a lot closer and fill that in. So we're just going to get a nice circle around it, and then use the leverage of your shovel to pop it out. So now let's say that this is something I wanted to save. Because there's grass around it, I don't want to save the grass. If you flip it over, you can see that there's different kinds of roots in here. There's white roots, and then there's these brownish red roots. These are the roots of that flower. These are the roots of grass, or maybe even some garlic that has spread into here. So if I wanted to save this, I would just go plant this somewhere else, and it would be ready to go. The reason I don't want to just go plant this somewhere else is because it is full of grass. So I'm going to take the time to gently pull these grass roots out. And you can see how far they go. And this one was about to send up another, clump of grass. And so the only way that this is, for me, safe to put in another space is if I work all of these grass plants out of this clump of dirt, which this is seeming a little bit too easy right now. Eventually it will get too close to the crown and they won't come out as easily. There's some other things in here like violets that I wouldn't want to move somewhere else. And if you see worms, never bury a worm. Let a worm dig its own hole, but put it somewhere shady. Don't leave it out in the sun. So I'm just going to lay it on the top of good soil and let it burrow its way in. If you bury a worm, you just suffocate it. So there's all sorts of stuff going on in this little clump, including a dandelion, which must have broke its root off. And I also, even if I was just going to put this on my corner for other people to take, I don't want to give them a whole bunch of weeds. So I have the time, and I actually love untangling things. So give me your tangled necklaces any day. But anyway, so now we're to the crown of the plant, and I can't get any more of this grass out without just breaking it off. So that's where I get to be a little less gentle and actually just pull it apart, because I do want to plant this somewhere else. It's a nice pollinator plant. So by knocking off the dirt, never do this in the heat of the day. Plants suffer stress just like anything else, any other living thing, And if you did it in the heat of the day, all of its little mini roots would be very traumatized by how dehydrating the sun is and heat. So you want to do this early morning like we're doing this morning, or even late evening, and plant it in the evening and let it sit overnight. But oh, look at that, I can almost get them all out. Seems like a lot of work for maybe what would be an $8 plant, but I don't know. I just feel like when things propagate themselves, it's worth giving them the opportunity to grow, because they've worked so hard to get to this size. And so now this is where I know plants are alive and everything, but you don't have to be extremely precious. This will completely heal and regrow, and if anything, I just created places for them to grow more roots. So I'm just going to check it over a little bit more, make sure there's no grass roots that look like they are thick enough to spread. So there's some more grass ones right here, and those will dry out. I'm just dropping them on the surface. And now we have a nice healthy root crown to be able to put somewhere else. So like I said, this is a hardy geranium. It either has a pink or a purple flower. Pollinators love it. It's, you know, it's a nice plant. It's a bit of a floppy plant, and so I'll end up using something like one of these. And what these are good for is that the plant goes up and through them, and then they stand stronger rather than kind of laying on everything, which is what these were probably doing last season, but I couldn't see them because there were so many other things. So I'm going to take this plant and I'm going to find a good spot for it. Because this one gets about 18 to 20 inches, I want to put it somewhere in the back of a bed, and somewhere where I can put some kind of a structure around it and let it grow. So let's go walk around and see where a good spot for this would be. I actually don't have this color or this plant in this bed right here, and I did tear out a bunch of stuff this year. So I'm going to kind of look around right here, and I'm going to put it, this happens to be an orange plant right here, and that's a purple plant. This has an orange flower, this has a reddish flower, and then that has a yellow flower. So I kind of have every color in here. I don't really have, my color scheme is every color. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to dig basically the same size hole. Now if you were dealing with really hard soil or soil that wasn't good soil, you would need to amend this hole with some compost to get it to be nice crumbly soil like this. Don't ever like dig a hole in like clay or hard pan or sand and plop down this really nice plant that's in potting soil and think that it's going to love its hole. It's not. You need to dig that hole about twice as big, fill it with nice potting soil or mix, and then put your plant in the middle of that so that the first thing the new roots touch is something very nice, and then as it gets established and moves out, it'll totally adapt. So because I've spent so much time getting the weed roots out of this, it's really ready to go. There's still some more in here. That's funny. You think you see them all, and you can really tell. I'm gonna get up close here. The difference, you can see that this root is not these roots, right? And so because we don't want this plant to keep growing, I'm going to just pull that out, and sure enough, it's a grass root that was going to come up and through here. Now there are things that you can spray that, you know, supposedly don't hurt different plants, because they, you know, it only attacks like the genetics of a grass, you know, plant or a thistle or whatever. But I try to do things as manually as possible so that I get the results that I want. So anyway, so we're back to this hole, trying not to step on everything else. And you don't, so when you're planting a plant, you want to plant it at the exact same height as its current crown. You never want to plant it deeper, and you don't want to plant it taller. If you planted it taller, what that looks like is, you know, it's kind of puffing up out of the ground and its roots are showing, and those roots are going to dry out and the plant's going to be stressed. If you plant it too deep and it's down here and you've created a hole, then it will rot. And so the ideal is to plant it exactly the height that it is. This hole isn't quite big enough because these are kind of spread out roots. So I'm going to make this hole a little bit bigger so I can spread out the roots nicely. And I'm going to then fill it in. Oh, got some worms in there around that plant, and we're going to make sure that it is exactly the same height as what I just dug it up to be. And gently pack it in. You want to make sure there's not a ton of air around it, and then you would water it in. Even if it's early spring, you want to, and maybe you don't have your water on yet, you need to go get a pitcher of water in the house and water that in really well for, you know, until it starts growing and until your sprinklers are on. Right now it's obviously cool, and so things aren't as evaporating as fast, but everything needs water consistently, even drought tolerant plants. Next thing we're going to do is, let's look around here. Okay, another thing that spreads a lot every single year is oregano. And the pollinators love oregano. It's a very pretty plant, but because it's so vigorous and it's not very obedient is what it is. So if you look down this pathway, all those crazy sticks are oregano. And so we already have plenty of it, and we don't need it right here. And because it's starting, when it was small and cute, I kind of left it here because it didn't matter, it was only about this tall. Now because it's established, it's going to be about this tall, which is taller than the blueberry. And we don't need it right at the edge because that means it'll be falling into the pathway and it'll just be unruly. That's the word I was trying to think of, unruly. So now in here I actually do have a lot of plants, and they're just starting to come back. There's some heuchera that I started from seed. These are English daisies. There's a psyllum. There's a geum. There's this blueberry bush. And of course, there's all of this crazy oregano going. Again, this is something you can, you know, I have a lot of different varieties of oregano. The chartreuse one doesn't seem to spread, but the just standard regular oregano spreads a lot. So now I've accidentally dug up one of my flowers, which I cut it in half. I want to make sure it has some roots, and I need to plant it again because I see what was happening. So the oregano had grown around that, and so let's hope that I didn't chop it up too much that it won't come back. Now this oregano is completely grown around this little heuchera and a daisy that's about to bloom. So I'll probably wait for it to get a little bit taller. Well, that's not true. This is obviously the main plant that had seeded itself here, and I didn't grow it up. Now what I'm trying to be careful of is the fact that this is also the blueberries root system that I'm meddling with, and they aren't tender or anything like that, but I also don't want to cut off too many roots or disturb it too much because I don't want it to be stressed about its berries that are coming up. So sometimes you can't help it though. Sometimes it's just the way it is. And so this is a really massive oregano, and I'm going to knock out as much dirt as I can because I'm not going to give this to anybody. I'm just going to throw it in my compost. And so I'm not trying to save this, but I also don't want to lose all of this organic material and any worms that may be in it. So I'm going to clean it out as much as possible. Ooh, it smells so good. And so now you can see this one has a completely different kind of root system than I just showed you before. It's very fuzzy and furry looking. There's no grass in it. There's no other plants in it at all. So I'm going to put that to the side and put all this soil back in. So we want it to still be the same level. And I'm going to have to get a little more creative with getting, we got 2 minutes left. Okay, with getting these out without hurting the flowers that are growing right here, because I really love these English daisies and I want them to bloom. So I'm going to keep getting rid of oregano, being careful with the other things. And that's basically what you're going to do when you're working in your garden, when you're trying to decide what stays, what goes, what can be moved. Because that's the other thing, is that even with those poppies over there, the ones that are getting bigger right on the edge of the path, what I'm probably going to do is dig those up very gently with a nice root ball and just move them more towards the center so that the low things can stay on the edge and the poppies can go in the middle. And I can then stake them and do that kind of thing. All of these plants, not including their oregano, are very low. They only get about 6 inches high. And so they're ideal for this edge of this garden space. And we don't want to start, if you, like last year. Hey, I just want to say goodbye and thank you for watching that segment and about like transplanting, dividing, throwing away certain things that have overgrown. And if you ever have any questions, just contact us at bwisegardens.com. We have a contact form there. Send us a DM through Instagram or just stop and say hi. And we're more than willing to answer your questions and help you get further along in this gardening journey. We're honored and blessed to be here, and we thank Argos for hosting this and putting the information out there. Have a great day.
Hello and welcome back to my Idaho friends. I am your host, as always, Jaime Lima, and we are happy that you are joining us. Accent kicking in early tonight. So, as always, as they always, I shout out and big thanks to Argos Productions, the whole team, Jeston, Erica, sweet baby Jameson in the back, making sure that we're running smooth and that we're staying on the air. If you need any help with any sort of production, whether it's film, content for your social media, need some content for your marketing and whatnot, make sure that when you're watching this on the YouTubes, well, first of all, you first subscribe to the channel, but then you look down at the link, check out Argos Productions, check out their portfolio and all the ways that they can help you and your business and your brand. Now, without further ado, man, am I excited today. Am I excited today? Why? Because, well, this is our third show that we're pre-recording right now. So this is new, by the way. But this is our last one of the day, and I'm so super pumped up about it. So my buddy, Ryan Basso from Reply Pro. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course, man. Good to be here.
Right on, right on. So we're going to dig in deep and hard. You know, we're going to bypass the pleasantries. What is it that Ryan Basso does here in this valley of ours?
Yeah, so two things. I own my own software company, Reply Pro. So that sucks up a lot of time. And then my other passion work is with the Boise State Venture College, where we help students launch businesses outside the classroom.
And that is true because that's how I met him.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I really am grateful with the partnership that the Boise Venture College has with Mission 43.
There you go.
Shout out to Mission 43. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't been able to attend because, you know, they pay for it, and that's how we met, and that's how I was able to test a couple of concepts that turned out that, you know, I dodged a bullet.
Hey, we saved you money.
You saved me a great deal of money, a great deal of money. And we're going to touch on that too, but we're going to come back to that in just a little bit, more about you and what you're doing now with Boise Venture College, and also, you know, as the CEO and founder of Reply Pro. But where were we before that? Where were we 10 years ago?
10 years ago, I was probably finishing up college. I was selling pet insurance, of all things. There's like a human health insurance, but for pets. It's good. It's a good company, but it's not, it wasn't my life ambition to be a salesman for pet insurance.
Wasn't your passion? Is that what you're saying?
You know, it was interesting because it was was a big enough company where it felt corporate-y, right? We're not talking like Hewlett-Packard size, but it was enough where marketing was kind of segregated, and you had like the CEO kind of in different offices, and it was you could still approach them, but there was clear divisions.
Yeah.
And I was just like, nope, don't like this. It's not my fill. And then I found out a lot about myself because insurance just has a lot of rules and regulations. And I've always prided myself on like, okay, how do we expand the thought? How do we expand the box? And insurance just can't do it. And so just felt super refined. So between the corporate and the rules of insurance, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Right on. So a lack of flexibility made you take a turn, which then brings us over to right now. So,
yeah.
Right? So you were finishing college, you were working the pet insurance, paying the bills, doing your thing, learning, and then you decided like, I'm just gonna start my own business because of reasons.
Yeah, kind of. So I had a friend that was in this super niche business. It's HOA management. It's like HOA homes and stuff. He manages those, and he came with the difficulty of, okay, there's a HOA of 500 homes. Only 3 are decision makers. It's the board members. But how do I contact those people? How do I get my value in front of them? And so I was working with him and just finding that it wasn't just his business. There was lots of businesses that had that issue of like getting their value in front of people. So that's what launched me down, because I thought I was like an expert in that, and it turns out I had no clue at all, and I was completely lost. But yeah, I mean, I launched super green. I think I took one business course at Boise State, and then I actually went through the venture college, and they caught me up really quickly to speed, but I still lost thousands of dollars and lots of years, chasing rabbit holes that just didn't turn out to be a good startup.
Yay, business ownership.
Yay. And now my goal is to help people like you and others not spend the thousands of dollars, spend a couple weeks and $50 and figure out if it's a good idea or not.
Yeah, no, and thanks to you, I just only ended up spending $50. So.
That's a win.
By the way, if all of a sudden you hear sweet baby James losing his mind in the background, those are my children in another room watching some Lego Ninja show.
Sounds good.
So just letting you know, you have my full attention. They'll be fine. So that was rather quick. You went ahead and you fired on all cylinders. Like, we're gonna launch this. I think I got this. I fancy myself a subject matter expert. Then we found out that we had to eat perhaps a couple of slices of humble pie.
Totally.
And then we bring ourselves up to speed with some extra training, some education. Some of it links up with the Boise Venture College. Is that the first time you linked up with those guys?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So you were a student.
Yeah, I had recently graduated, so I was probably like a year out, and I think it was the second, they kind of do it in cohorts, batches of entrepreneurs, so I was part of their second cohort. And so at that point, I'd already gone all in, I'd sold my rental property, I was on the cusp of quitting my job, or I had already quit my job, and then they were like, you should be in this program, to help you out.
Right on. How did that go? Because now, like you mentioned, it takes up all of your time, being in your business. How did you manage to find the time to then also help other people, through the venture college, to essentially, bypass all the additional, or perhaps the extra growing pains and the shock and awe of starting a business, or even coming up with a concept?
Like, you're saying, how do I find the time for that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's energizing, at least personally for me, it's energizing to work with other ideas. Because I remember, as an entrepreneur at the beginning stages, especially when you haven't nailed the value proposition, you're almost on the hunt, and you're always looking for what about this? How do you monetize this? And your brain doesn't shut off. And so finally, I've hit a stage where, okay, I know actually what my company is, and I have a site on where I needed to go, and software-wise, I know where we need to go, partnerships, etc. So the venture college is actually a great outlet for me, because I get to hear other ideas, but I don't have to invest all my time. So it's actually pretty energizing.
Right.
And then I think it's really cool when entrepreneurs actually buy into the system we believe in, which is go talk to customers, figure it out, come back to me, and let's talk about what you learned. And I think that just becomes it's an outlet for me to talk business naturally. Right? And gives us great talking points, because ideally they're doing something and there's new information to bring to the table every time we talk.
Gotcha. So you also get to continue your education by being part of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's every business is different, and it's more of I didn't know they would say this, or I thought there were, there's something to there. And so it's exciting to see businesses take off. It's exciting when like revenue comes in. Like there's always energy around entrepreneurship that's progressing. There's usually like frustration and sadness when it stops. So I try to circle myself around, people that are always trying to progress. And if they don't, then like our mentorship stops because you've hit a point and I've maximized what I can do. So, find another mentor, but I continue on with the ones that are hitting their checkpoints, getting new stuff and evolving the business.
What is Reply Pro now? Not based, but in comparison from when you first got started.
Oh, it's horribly, like completely different from when we started. So what we are today.
Take me on this journey actually, because I don't want like a snapshot of that. So like, you were looking, the previous value proposition was just like putting the, this other value from this company and many other companies in front of as many people as possible, which were their potential, like not potential, but their current client base and then some, correct?
Yeah. So going back to my friend that did the HOA management. So my initial theory was let's build kind of a database of HOA management companies, use SEO, like drive traffic, and he would be one of like many companies. Well, eventually that pivoted to like, well, why are we just doing HOAs? It's so niche. Why don't we branch that out to other services? And then we kind of, like if you've heard of the company called Thumbtack or Home Advisor, the idea of like contacting multiple professionals at once. Well, like 7 or 8 years ago, they were big, but they weren't gigantically big. We thought there was an angle for that. And so we started building out, and this is where my mistakes happened because I wanted to go for it all. And so I had to have all the categories in Boise. We spent months calling businesses and we launched this site that takes 9 months, thousands of dollars to do, and within 2 weeks, I knew it wasn't going to work. So what happened was, like, you could select multiple professionals and say, I want a quote, but all these blasted companies in Boise would not call the customer back. And that's the whole value proposition of my site, is that you could get like 6 or 7 quotes at once.
Right.
And so I call these guys, and I'm like, dude, why are you not like, and they were big ticket items. Like one was, I think like a new AC unit. I mean, that's thousands and thousands of dollars. Why would you not call that lead back? Oh, we're super busy right now. Like we don't have any time. And it was like the first time where I realized, I seriously thought I was doing it right. I mean, I was on the consumer side, I was knocking on doors. I literally went to neighborhoods in Kuna, Idaho, knocked on doors and was like, how do you shop for home services? Tell me about the process. So I was doing my customer interviews, but I didn't do my customer interviews on the business side because I just assumed that they would want leads.
Right.
And that assumption was completely wrong. And so and from that point, it set me back nine months. And then, so we pivot the business a little bit. It was awkward because at that point, we were literally on the cusp. We had raised like $25,000 investment and then turned into $75,000. And it was weird because we literally got the $75,000 and then 2 weeks later came back to our investors and was like, we're completely pivoting the business. That's an awkward conversation, right? Like,
a little bit.
Thanks for the check. By the way, that didn't work, but I think that taught me like the importance of investors, especially at the early stage. I mean, they're ridiculous if they're investing in the business idea. They're investing in you. So my investors were like, great, you learned something, like do something better. And so we made pivots from like, okay, we'll just have this site where all reviews are there, like Yelp, Google, where customers they don't have to go to multiple review sites. We found out we couldn't make any money that way. So then it was like, okay, what are we gonna do now? But by doing that, we found out that businesses actually cared about their reputation. And so we turned from like a B2C play to more a B2B play. And so what I found is like we made gigantic pivots, right? Like, and it was embarrassing as an entrepreneur. You'd have, especially when you do the initial launch, you'd have people who are like, oh, how's the startup? Expecting like Facebook type growth.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, we're going to make a change, and then like 3 months later, how's the startup? Oh, we made another significant change. And you could just see in their face, like they weren't saying it, but they were saying it like, oh, you're a failure, right? Like, it totally, it sucked. And like to the point where like they felt awkward asking about it. Yeah. And I still to this day will have people that are like, so like whatever happened to that business? Like they're almost like afraid to bring it up. And I'm like, oh, you didn't know? Like we're in 30 different countries now and we doubled revenue last year and we're doing good. But yeah, it's super tough. It's embarrassing at times. I think one of the biggest learnings I had is it's really lonely. As a single founder, I know as co-founders that could be different, but as a single founder, I quickly found out there's a difference between employees and co-founders. Employees, like, it's 5 o'clock, it's time to go home. co-founders like 11:30 at night, hey, I got an idea kind of
Right.
thing, right? And I assumed all my employees, because they were early and they were, excited about the thing, that they'd have that same rush. And either two things happened. I burned them out because finds out humans don't like working till midnight every night, right? Or I was disappointed because they wanted to check out at 5 or 6 o'clock and not be able to return back to the office.
Right.
And so it just felt like a lot of burden was on me. You can only talk business so much with your friends when there's no growth and you're in experimentation mode. And so, yeah, it was some rough years I'd say like a rough 4 or 5 years before I figured it out.
Now, actually this time you took a rabbit hole. I didn't. We were talking about this earlier there, Idaho, settle down. But anyways, business care about the reputation, you were saying.
Yeah.
And that's when you kind of sort of went like, like this is the major last pivot.
Yeah, so it was like the first pivot towards business. So we found out, so we had all these reviews, and then like we were gonna do like accolades or like if they had local awards. So think of like a single page that has pretty much every accreditation a business has in one spot. Mm-hmm. So we do this, and that's when we got more businesses like, hey, make sure this is on there, or make sure this is on there, or you guys have the wrong reviews, or what, like they actually cared, right?
Right.
So it was like, oh, this is maybe a segment that cares, and it was like, why do they care? Well, because it can drive revenue. So then we realized it was a B2B play. We made the mistake of trying to partner with an agency at first because we were good at gathering data, just scraping data, right? Mm-hmm. And aggregating in one spot. We thought there was enough value. So we sell this plan to some like well-established marketing agencies. They were like, sure, we'll give this young Boise State startup team a chance. And they canceled like within the first month. Oh. But it was another learning because what happened was like we made this big deal of aggregating data and making all these like really pretty charts, but the charts don't move day to day, especially if it's just like a single business. There just wasn't a lot, and so they're like, great, they looked at it, but I'm not paying $100 a month for this. Like, thanks for the trial. So it was like back to the drawing board, and I just remember like I knew instinctively that businesses, for us to like meet value, businesses didn't have to just see reviews; they needed to be able to respond to reviews. So this is probably 5-6 years ago. It was like nowadays, it's like, no duh, you need to respond to your Google reviews. This was still pretty new to businesses of responding back to customers. Mm-hmm. And so that's when we pivoted to, okay, we'll have a place where all businesses can respond to reviews. And then since then, like that got us to our core value proposition of aggregating data and then allowing them to respond back. And since then, it's not so much gigantic pivots as it is adding more data that they can respond to. So now we add direct messages. Now we add social media comments or mentions. Now we're adding SMS and email. So now it's just this central hub where businesses get all of their customer information and then respond back. Nice. I think like our biggest aha was when we finally started moving upstream to larger locations. So once again, not a pivot, but more of a discovery, more of like more clarity on our value proposition fit. Because the more locations they have, the more they were overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And so I would pitch to Boise locations like, hey, this is amazing. And they were like, yeah, it's okay, because they only had 1 or 2 locations. Right. Then we'd do that same pitch to someone that had 50 locations. They're like, sign me up. And so that's where it's like, okay, I'm on to something.
Yeah. Ooh, that felt nice, I bet.
It feels good to finally get some wins, right? And then, then you're going into like a different stage, which is growth mode. And growth mode has its own different pains. We're like, putting processes in place or infrastructure to make sure you can support the growth. Like it's a new phase. It's fun. It's fun to be in I hate being in the discovery phase for 5 years. So it's good to be out of that.
Because we're diving into business, but your business is your business a legacy business? Is your business something more along the lines of like one of these days this is gonna go back like to my kids or like?
Gotcha. No, we're gonna. I mean, we took investment, right? So the moment I took investment from true investors, the intention is eventually to have a partner buy us out. So I don't know who that is yet. I mean, there's some potential prospects there, but. Yeah, it's to build it to where the revenue makes sense and we find a partnership that would just pick us up and plug us into their existing corporation.
Grow, scale, sell.
Yep.
Right on. And how long now has this been happening? The length actually since you got started up until right now?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking like day one of the original Reply Pro, which was called Based In, I think we're going on 8 years. 8, 9 years, somewhere around there. Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a long time, but I just bet it just went by so quick.
No, it went by terribly slow.
Oh, really?
At the start, when you're in failure mode, like, discovery is super hard,
true.
right? And like,
Right.
you know, add on, I still had to like provide for my family. My wife, her goal was to work at home. So like, I'm trying to make enough money to support our family. We got 4 kids, right? So that's tough. That's a tough stage. So I mean, yeah, like business-wise, it just feels like you're in mud until you get clarity, until you have proof that you've nailed your value proposition. Then it feels like you're running.
Well, that's pretty exciting, and I'm excited for you. I don't know. It seems like there's not going to be any more major pivots.
I don't think at this point we're going to do like major pivots. Yeah, there's additions, there's opportunities we see. Like, if anything, it's like what more data can we bring in, or what new customer segment could we better serve. But yeah, we're to the point now, and that took a while because it always ticked me off because we'd be on sales calls like even up to like a year ago, 6 months ago. We'd be on sales calls where I felt like we were beating the competition, but they'd always be like, well, what about this feature? Can you do this? Or what about this? Do you do this? And just every time I wanted to cringe, because I just felt like I was pushing my dev team, like, keep adding, keep adding, keep adding. And I finally, like, no lie, within the last 6 months, people are finally like, wow, you do all that? And it's like, oh, thank you. Like, I've wanted to hear that for the last 4 or 5 years. And so it's just a different stage.
Until another app shows up.
Until something comes up, and then it's back.
Gosh, that's so cool though. Looking at those 8 years and where you're at right now with your business, and finally gaining the traction that you so wanted for yourself and your team, and perhaps not like pushing your dev developers, so hard. If there was something like, I'm sure there was maybe several things, maybe just one or two. What would you say is like the top thing that you would have done different?
Like starting from the very beginning?
Yeah.
Just test faster, build faster, right? So like those 9 months that I took to build a website, I nowadays with my knowledge, I could have tested that in a week. You didn't even need software for it. You could have found a friend and then simulated what the software would have done via emails, and you could test that within a week. And I could have found out that 6 out of 9 Boise employee or companies would not have responded back. And then I've been like, bad idea, let's go to the next one, right? And I would have still had my rental property, and the equity would have been great.
Yeah,
but now
would have been passive income coming in.
Exactly. So that's one. I don't know. Like I think just knowing, if I could have known what it would have took, I still would have done it, but I'd have been more emotionally prepared. It's just a roller coaster. There's highs and lows, and I feel like at the beginning there was just so many, we're gonna make it, and then the next day you're like, I think we're gonna go bankrupt, and we're gonna make. I mean, I just remember having a bankruptcy conversation like probably 4 years ago with one of my mentors of like, so just in case it happens, like, let me know, So so just kind of bracing myself for, it's exciting, but it is brutal, and it's not like. I always watch the Facebook movie, the Social Network.
Okay, Social Network.
Yeah, with Zuckerberg, and you think that's the life, right? Like you're gonna be in a place just coding and it's fun, and you're gonna take off. That's a brutal lie that I had to find out for myself.
All right, I'm gonna now talk about something because you're already touching on it, but it's like one of my top, if not the top, favorite thing that I learned from you while I was going through the entrepreneurs course.
Yeah.
Through Venture College and in partnership with Mission 43.
Yeah.
Testing.
Yeah.
So for anybody that is watching right now that perhaps has a business or a startup or is looking to begin a business, or they have a concept, when you say testing, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean like just take your idea to the core's value and stop talking about it and go try it. And so if it's software, figure out how you could fake it without having to build a single line of code. There's plenty of ways to do it. So one way we did this, like way back in our early days, this is when I was trying to press my dev team that businesses wanted to respond to reviews. Well, to connect Google and Facebook and Yelp, it would have taken 9 months, right? And so we literally went to business and said, hey, our software can now respond to reviews. But what would happen is when they hit reply, our team would be like ready to go, logging in on their behalf to post the review.
Right.
But as soon as we found out that they were going to do it, then it's like, okay, now we're going to build it. right? So it's like, find out these like small little tests. We had a lady in my class just this last week where she's wanting to pair stay-at-home moms with like job opportunities, and there's like this big resume gap, right? So she's trying to pair businesses that don't care about that. Well, she tested on my business. I was like, let's just test it, right? In 1 week, she realized like, that's not the business I want to be. Like, I don't like this. I don't like being the matchmaker. She could have planned all day. She could have invested. She could have done an LLC, but it's like, spend a week and just do what you think you want to do.
Right.
And you'll get those learnings. Like, that's the biggest thing is a test is not just, people say things, I want to know what they do. And so get them to do something as quick as possible, as cheaply as possible. That's the whole lean startup method. And you just learn faster. You learn by doing.
Right on. So more on testing.
Yeah.
When you are testing concepts, ideas, and then say, it's like, okay, so this is going to be the thing that I'm going to do. Like, I definitely, clearly there's a high demand for an ice cream truck.
Yeah.
All right. And like, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go all in on the ice cream truck, and I'm going to like, make it like the Twisted Metal like character from the PlayStation 1 game, Sweet Tooth and whatever. Perhaps not like that. I'm glad you caught on that.
I can see you've thought about this already.
Actually, she was just on the spot. But anyway, it's just a geek for video games. But then how does that apply? Like, do you continue to test at that point in time, or it's like, oh, like I got the business, I got the idea, and off I go and I start selling some ice cream?
Yeah, I mean, you're just measuring, right? So I think one of the biggest things is people talk about like the leap of faith to do a startup. I think the best ones are not a leap of faith, but a step of faith. Like, ideally, you've done enough customer interviews and discovery to think you're onto something, and then you've done enough testing so that like your actual launch day per se is a very little, it's a little leap, right? There's always a little risk. But you haven't invested that much, and even the starting business, like you haven't put thousands of dollars and months into it. But yeah, afterwards, I mean, usually you're always pivoting, right? You're still, especially the early days, it's like this. And then when you finally nail your value proposition, then it's more additions or refinement, or maybe this group would like it better than that group. So I think you're just measuring what you think is going to be a success, right? Like, I think 20 people are going to sign up after launch. Great, you launched. Did you get 40? Awesome, you killed it. Did you get 10? Well, then you're going to need to change something. So what do we need to change? So it's always evolving and moving.
And is it that dynamic when you are leading these conversations, these periods of instruction at the Boise Venture College? Is it pretty much like that? It seems like, these kids, well, I shouldn't say kids, anybody that goes to college, whichever's college age, and taking the course, are they being like in a conceptual stage? It's like, well, I think this is what I want to do, and I want to learn how to go about it, or they're like actually like, oh, like I'm running this while learning about it at the same time? Yeah,
I mean, that's what so most people don't go in thinking like, I'm gonna do an MVP and I'll learn how to test this. So that's our job, is to teach them those principles. And then
minimum viable
product. So my goal is to teach those, and then my mentorship is more helping them figure out what they can do as a test, because I find like a lot of entrepreneurs in principle get it. Like, okay, I get it. I should do an MVP that I could test within 2 weeks, but they're not sure how to do it, right? And so prime example was there was a lady in one of my classes where she's trying to think of, she wants to have like a complete design of a room in a box. So you wouldn't have to think about it. You just hit a button and it's like instantly designed with the stuff that she wants. Well, I was like, go ahead and like test it. Like, put it on Instagram, like do a collection of things and let me know how it goes. Well, she was stalling out because it was super hard. Like, to get the rug, match with this, match with this, match with this. So she was hitting that point of like almost gonna stop because it was becoming too difficult. And it was like, that means your test was too big. So let's refine it back. I don't need to do the whole room. I'm gonna do a mantle. I'm gonna decorate a mantle, or I'm gonna decorate the couch. I'm gonna do a throw pillow and some stuff. And so by minimizing that test, at least it got her into movement. Like movement, there's like the, I bet you didn't think World War Z was gonna be in this conversation, but World War Z, Brad Pitt, he's in the apartment, and he says like, movement is life. He's trying to convince the Hispanic group to leave the apartment, and they won't leave. That movement is life in startup. You got to be moving. You got to be evolving, just for energy's sake alone. Because if you're stalling out, those are the entrepreneurs, the ones that are in their apartment still dreaming, the ones that still have excuse of why they haven't launched yet. Like, those are the ones I cancel mentorship ASAP. I divvy them out. I can't do it because they're just stuck. and they're not living the principles that lead to success.
Right. And you're able to identify that, you know.
Yeah, because it's 4 interviews in a row of like, oh yeah, I haven't really done anything, or yeah, I met with one person.
Gotcha.
Dude, it's been 4 weeks. Like, let's hit the
Right.
hit the boosters.
Yeah.
And then you find out the excuses. Well, I'm this is kind of a passive thing. Great, I'm not your passive guy. Like,
Right, yeah.
We hit the boosters and we
Yeah.
go, or you move on and find somebody
Perhaps
else.
there's a passive mentor somewhere else.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so that's my personal. I mean, Venture College, I should speak as the college will help everyone. Personally,
Right.
I focus on the ones that are like ready to hit the boosters and go.
That was very PC of you.
Yeah, I was like, I'm still representing. So
that's really cool. That's really cool. Let's talk a little bit more about the Venture College and the course itself. So you are one of the what do you say, lead instructors?
Yeah, associate director technically. So pretty
Okay.
much I help with all content. We help run some competitions, but at the end of the day, right now, like if there's any formal classes, I'm the one teaching those.
Okay, so there's nobody else?
Teaching, not really. I'm the main.
Wow.
I'm the main instructor. So we usually have like 2 or 3 kind of formal programs. I lead the instruction on those 3.
Man,
it's fun.
Right. It was usually, well, you know, I guess pre-COVID, what was the size of the class?
I mean, we've always we never want it too big. So usually it's around 20-ish entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So that's.
I'm like, I know, you know, kind of gotta fudge some numbers here,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
completely off the top of your head, but like when you're talking about, you know, these college students, you know, taking the course, more than likely they want to launch something, or they're already in the process of, or perhaps they want to discover.
Yeah.
What are would you say the percentage of people are actually following through with what they think or they said they were gonna follow through with?
Yeah, so it depends on which course I'm teaching. So if it's the actual Boise State one, I'd say consistently every semester, if there's 20 entrepreneurs, 2 or 3 are going to actually continue on and have the bandwidth to do it.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm finding more and more is students, well, they optimistically want to launch a startup, finals crushes their dreams, you know, dating crushes, like they're still going on in life.
Yeah.
And frankly, a lot of them don't have a lot of experience. They come in with assumptions of what they think, you know, how they think the world works or how they think business works. And then it's like within week 2, I'm telling them, go talk to your customers. And then they go talk to them like, I was completely wrong. And then sometimes they shut down. Like there's a
Right.
percentage like, I'm out, my guess was wrong, you like crushed my dreams.
Actually, I'm not laughing at it. I'm laughing because of the course that we took together. And I was just like, why are you picking on me?
Yeah, no, it is.
That
It's
was
like
me saying, it's like, ask somebody else.
No, totally. Well, I mean, there was that slide. We're gonna frame it. It was like me being the dream crusher.
Yeah, and just like.
And I don't mean to crush dreams, but it's like I also like the best mentors were the ones that always were like, prove it. Like,
Right.
stop talking about it, just prove it. Let me
Right.
show me customers that actually care about this kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I tend to be more like that. So yeah, 2 to 3, but on classes like M43 where we work with the military veterans, I mean, usually they're in a place where they can actually do a startup.
Right.
And in that case, yeah, I'd say, you know, 33 to 50% end up actually doing something, or at least trying something.
Right.
You know, to the point where they can actually test and then they'll either keep going or pull it back.
Man, phew. Now, I guess I never thought about this. I never asked you. So that course that I took, the one through Mission 43, is that different, or is that the same one that you teach at the?
Very similar to what we do with college students.
Okay.
So that one's goes through. It's really focused on more, you know, getting to launch, so customer discovery, MVPs, and then we quickly go through more of the business model canvas and marketing and all, you know, partnerships and all that.
Yeah.
I think one thing that we're onto for Venture College is what we're calling reverse pitching. So what we find is a lot of students have a hard time identifying a legit problem that people are willing to pay for, and that's where they're stalling out. So this last semester, we partnered with home builders throughout Idaho, and they came to us with legitimate problems. So they're legitimate businesses with actual problems, and there was a 1-week sprint to say solve their issues. And there are companies that are still moving on after that. And as an entrepreneur, it's like warp speed, because you bypass the whole customer interview, like, is this a pain? Is this not a pain? They're saying like, I'm willing to pay for this, just solve it. No one's solved this yet. How do you solve it? The same principles still apply. You can do MVPs, you can do testing. but it's almost cheating.
But you
in
know
a
the
good way.
end user.
Yeah, and you have a passionate end user that's willing to pay for it. So so we're doing that. I think so. We'll continue doing it with home building. We're going to be doing it for cybersecurity, and honestly, we're looking for other industries within Idaho that are like, yeah, let's team up and come with problems. And then we have students.
Crazy exciting.
It's super. I think it's a huge shift in venture college because there are 20 students that probably will go out on a ledge and try to launch a startup, and then half of those will stop mid-semester. But we think there's 100 students that'd be willing to come every semester to say, I will help solve someone's problems using entrepreneurial skills. So we think that's just going to explode more and more over time.
That is really cool.
It's fun.
I asked before we started recording, but you gotta come back again
and
talk about that. That's so cool. But you're right. That is like, oh gosh, I was gonna come up with some stupid analogy. I'm the worst at analogies, but also like it's like one of my favorite things. I was gonna come up with something about like, no, I don't know that we have that kind of time. It was gonna be something like Indiana Jones and the Jade Monkey, but it's actually like a golden egg. And anyways, it doesn't matter. Either way, like he didn't have to like replace it with the stone. Like the stone was already there, and he just had to like just pick it up. Terrible analogy, but I love them. I love them. Okay. So we are starting to run low on time, and that is like the cool thing is like you're the last, the guy like the pedal to the metal. We were hitting a lot of the questions that I really wanted to for you to answer. There's a lot more stuff that I would like to ask you and have you share with our audience. So hopefully you'll take me up on another invitation. Hopefully this was not too painful. But before we leave, please go ahead. That's your camera right there. Let the fine people that watch My Idaho Friends, again, how they can find your services, whether it's websites, social media, phone numbers, smoke signal. I'm not here to judge. You do whatever you want to do. And then also, if you want to talk a little bit about the venture college, by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So first and foremost, my software company, ReplyPro, it's just replypro.io. We help brick and mortar businesses quickly respond to their customers, whether it be reviews or direct messages. We're really finding our niche in multi-location where they're just getting overwhelmed with customer comments. And then on the local side, Boise State Venture College, so we look for two things. People that are looking to launch their startup and want to save money and time and not go through the pains of the typical startup process. So we can help you there. Even if you're community members, we do have services. So just Google Boise State Venture College and reach out to us. And then in terms of businesses, like I alluded to, we're looking for businesses that have legit problems that we can turn our entrepreneurs onto your problems and help solve those. And we think that's really the next growth step for venture college.
If all of a sudden a business shows up asking about their problem and their problem happens to be a competitive game board league,
I'll let them know there's no market.
You let them know. The original testing says there's no market, but I'm ready to pivot. And there's some hot concepts in the works right now. It's going to be Twitch and streaming, man.
There you go.
I'm just testing it. Actually, Argos Studio is going to help me with that. So
Good.
With that said, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. As always, thank you to Argos Productions, Erica, Jeston, sweet baby James out in the back, making sure that everything's flowing the way that it's supposed to. As always, if you're watching us on the YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you like the content, go ahead and hit the like button. And look below on the comments where we have all the links. We're going to have the links here for Ryan's business, for the Boise Venture College as well. And then, of course, all the links for Argos Productions. And then probably some other stuff that I'm really into, like the nonprofits that I support and things like that. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, Idaho, when you get a chance, get out there and be kind to somebody. Cheers.
All right, we got a bunch of stuff out here, so we're gonna make some soup. We got some shiitakes, which smelled up the whole, we got them fresh from the Asian market, they smelled up the whole house. Some Thai chilies. Next, we're gonna chop some mushrooms, and then once we chop some mushrooms, we're gonna get this whole thing started. shiitake. So I first discovered tom kha kai from my mom taking me to Thai restaurants. It's one of those flavors that when you taste it and the aromas that are around the dish and everything, you never forget it. So when you get one of those flavors like a strong lemongrass with coconut or maybe a strong ginger with some chili and stuff, those smells just bring you back to it. It's just it's a phenomenal dish that's so unique. It's one of the reasons why I always strive to kind of recreate it or go find it at my favorite Thai restaurants. And that's the real challenge, is trying to recreate what they do there. But it turns out the magic is pretty simple. You just got to get the right ingredients. Perfect. So I got my aromatics set up here for the most part, except for lemongrass. I will beat the crap out of the lemongrass here in a little bit and throw it in once I got some actual liquid in the dish. Got some garlic chopped, I got some shallots, I got some shiitake mushrooms, some onions, and some fresh ginger that I rode my bike to and picked up at the Asian market earlier today. It was a cool day, so it was pretty nice. What's that?
Sorry, your viewers are probably like, hold still, lady.
My viewers are probably tipsy anyways if they're all my friends. Okay. So we're going to start with sauteing up some aromatics. Well, actually, we're going to start with the mushrooms. We're going to get a little sear on the mushrooms. Then we're going to add in the aromatics, and then we'll go liquid from there. We're going to go a little bit of sesame oil, and we're going to go a little bit of coconut oil. Because any old Thai lady that I talked to about this soup, they're kind of like the old South where you talk about gumbo, and it's either okra or sassafras, and everybody wants to kill everybody else over which one it really is. It's kind of the same way over whether you should use sesame oil or coconut oil. So I try to compromise and make some negotiations. So I'm going to use a little bit of coconut oil and a little bit of sesame oil. Alright. Get those in there, and we're going to throw in these shiitake mushrooms. Alright, shiitake happens. It's happening in the pan right now. We're going to get a little sear on them. Whenever people cook mushrooms, they mess them up all the time. Because they'll throw them into a pan that's cold, or they'll throw them in with other things they're cooking already, and they never really caramelize on the outside or sear. And it really changes the texture of the mushroom. So you always want hot oil, get those mushrooms in there, get some sear on them, get some golden on the outside. That caramelization is awesome. Makes for so much of a better dish. I've seen a lot of these recipes where they add the mushrooms later so they can strain out the aromatics from the soup. If I was going to serve this in a restaurant, I would probably consider doing that too, so that they'd have chunks of lemongrass and chili that are kind of inedible. But we're making this at home, and we know that we can kind of eat around those when we're making the soup, and they're just lovely to have in there, so that's what we're going to do right now. Alright, so garlic. Let's go shallots, and everybody's favorite, ginger. I tried to get some galangal. I went to an Asian market. I went to 2 different supermarkets. Nobody has galangal in Boise, apparently.
What is galangal?
It's kind of like, it's in the ginger family. It's similar to ginger. I feel like it has a little more pungent, a little more sweeter kind of taste to it. It's traditionally more used in this soup than just regular ginger that we can buy here. All right. We got those aromatics in there. Ooh, look at those nice golden seared shiitake. Starting to smell the garlic, starting to smell that ginger.
It smells really good.
Nice.
Rory says hi.
Okay. Hi, Rory.
Heartland Inn.
Sorry, not wearing the Heartland Inn sweatshirt today, but we do have the legendary Don Baker big swallow shirt on, incidentally. With some coconut. I went in here in some tom kha kai soup, which is a chicken and coconut and lemongrass infused soup from Thailand. And you should find it at any of your favorite Thai restaurants. And if your favorite Thai restaurant doesn't have tom kha kai, you need to find a new favorite Thai restaurant. Alright. So we're getting those nice and sauteed up. Got some caramelizations on some stuff. I don't want my garlic and shallots to burn, so I'm going to start adding my liquid right now, which I'm going to start with coconut broth. Sorry, not coconut broth, chicken broth.
Alright, what are we doing next?
Okay, so chicken stock's in there. Next, we're going to add our coconut milk. Eat it, and then it's one nice smooth consistency there.
Yay, that's so cute.
This is where the magic of editing is going to come in later. I just really beat the crap out of some lemongrass and cut it up and threw it in the coconut milk. And what I was doing there was I was using the back of the knife, not the blade, to really just kind of smash it. And that's going to kind of, well, A, it's really fibrous lemongrass, so it's going to help break up that fiberiness. And it's also going to release all those oils. And that's really, once it goes into the coconut milk, it's going to steep into all that good flavor. Coconut milk's a lot like cream or regular milk, where it just kind of picks up any flavor that's kind of simmering in it. So the more aromatics and flavors you can put in there, you're really going to bring out. All right, now we got these wonderful kaffir lime leaves that I want a little tree that smells like kaffir lime leaves hanging in my car. Have that aroma all the time. Most people just use a couple of these. I like to ramp it up. I'm going to use like 10 or 12. Just roll. Really get that lime flavor going. Oh, that's one thing I need to get out here. It's the fresh lime that we'll add later. And I got a bunch of these at Oriental Market today. Most of your good Oriental markets, you'll be able to find some kaffir lime leaves. You get a bunch, put them in a Ziploc, use them for a dish, throw them in your freezer to keep them fresh, okay? We got some wonderful little Thai chilies here. If anybody knows anything about peppers, capsaicin is where all the heat comes from. Capsaicin is the oil in the peppers. And what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of give a little T-cut on these guys and just try to release that capsaicin. Most of the capsaicin in peppers is held in the ribs and the seeds. So I don't want to chop these up and just throw them in the soup. I'm just gonna kind of do a cut down the middle and rotate it and do another cut down the middle. So all our aromatics are in there. Our garlic, our shallots, our onions, our ginger. We added shiitake mushrooms. And then we really kind of beat up some lemongrass and chopped it up and put it in there. Get that flavor and those oils from lemongrass to infuse it. We use the kaffir lime leaves, which is going to be the basis of the backbone flavor of the soup. Got that in there. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of cut up some green onions for some garnish. Pick some fresh cilantro. And then I will move on to the chicken. We get the chicken in there. Okay, everything's cut up. We're going to mess with the dirty, dirty chicken.
All right. Can I see it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to shed a little more light on you.
Okay.
Chicken here.
We'll take these breasts, some free range. Really nice and cleaned up right now, so that's great. Normally most American soups, they kind of at least sear the outside of the chicken or cook it all the way before they add it into soups. Thai always uses this really thin, nice thin sliced chicken, and it boils itself in the soup and kind of curls it up and gives it a better, it just gives it kind of a unique texture, really. So I'm going for some super thin slices, almost like a carpaccio. A lot of like professional restaurants will probably, they'll freeze the chicken and slice it on a slicer, and then you can get really, really thin slices that kind of curl up in there, have a really nice texture to them. Almost like a little chicken sashimi slice. You want to try some chicken sashimi?
No.
Neither do I. I think that's a good amount of chicken, and then we're just going to get this into the simmering stock. Pump broccoli. That's what I was doing. I actually went to bed last night. I watched the end of the Dam documentary, and then I went and watched, because they talked about it a little bit, watched the Young Ones episode where the Dam played on it.
You've been wanting to watch that for a long time.
Alright, we got our chicken in there. It's going to simmer up, slowly kind of cook it, give it a really nice texture, going from raw to kind of cooked, and just soak up some of those flavors from the top cut. So now we're going to start kind of just adding our backbone of flavors right now. We got our essentials, we got the aromatics that are just going to keep building and building, and then we're going to add our backbones, which is salt, because that's universal, and pepper, which is also universal over all cooking. Then we're going to add in fish sauce. The older the fish sauce, the better. I had one bottle for 20 years. It was so sad to see it go. Delicious, saltiness, umami, some just really great. If you smell it, if you taste it by itself, it's absolutely horrible, but it makes the best sauces and soups and just nice backbone of rich flavor. So we're just gonna get a couple tablespoons in there. It's most supermarkets these days, if you look into the Asian section, you'll find a fish sauce. If you find a brand that you like, keep to it. You can usually have the bottle one of this size should last you, depending on how much you like to do kind of Thai or Eastern cooking, could last you 5 to 10 years. And the longer it sits in your cupboard, the more flavor it gets. Now we're gonna add a little bit of sweet. You can use palm sugar. You can use coconut amino acids. You can use brown sugar. I'm going to use a dark brown sugar. Use regular sugar too. And basically I'm going to try to get about a half a cup.
Just let it focus. Oh, that's right. Squeeze.
A little bit more of
What's this?
this. Salt. The magic. A little bit fresh pepper. If you want to make it spicier, you add the chili oil afterwards. We'll just kind of let this simmer and let those flavors marinate for a few more minutes, 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. I like that.
Okay. Ready?
You're going.
All right, now we got the tom kha kai. We removed some of the lime leaves. Those are the aromatics that we just kind of didn't want. And we're going to dish up.
Okay.
Those there.
I'd like to get closer in on it when you do that. Garnishes, is that okay?
Yep. Okay. And then we'll use fresh cilantro right here. Green onions. Oh. Slide in the Thai chili. That's it. There you go. You got tom kha kai. Some nice chicken and coconut with lemongrass infused soup. If I was in a restaurant, I'd probably kind of dazzle it up with a little more chili oil and some cilantro oil around the edges, kind of brighten it up, make it a little more fancy, but it seems pretty good. Thanks for joining us.
Namaste everyone, good evening. How are you guys? Good to see you. So welcome, my name is Pierce Ty. I'll be taking you through a little bit of a yoga flow today. I'm not really sure what the seasons are like for a lot of you guys wherever you are. I know that a lot of the Argos followers are up in the Pacific Northwest kind of region. I am here in good old New York where we have had sudden onset of autumn. So we went west. So if you are joining us for the first time, do what you can. My loyal followers week after week, thank you so much for joining and rejoining. As you guys know, I'm very prop friendly, so if you've got a pillow, blanket, a sturdy book, whatever it is you'd like to use, you can utilize those props to enhance your practice. All right, so if you're using a prop, especially a block or a book, you can take it and sit up onto it. Always nice to elevate the hips just a little bit. I'm choosing to go with my nice bolster here today. Sit up tall. Draw your shoulders down and back. Let the shoulder blades hug the spine. With the crown of the head up high, the back of the neck long. Start to focus on your breathing. Just let the inhale and the exhale fall into one nice steady rhythm. This is what we call a samavriti breath cycle, so of equal duration in and out. Now the specific breath we want to utilize for the practice is the ujjayi breathing. So that's an audible inhale and exhale through the nose. So it might sound a little bit like Darth Vader, or maybe like ocean waves crashing, maybe your ear against a big shell. So very audible inhale and exhale. Good. As you're coming into this cycle, remember, keep the spine long and the shoulders back. With every inhale, just growing the spine a little bit more. On every exhale, root both sitting bones down into your prop or into your mat, into the floor. Just feel that connection with whatever is underneath you. Let's start out with 3 rounds of Om this evening. Deep inhale through your nose. Closed your eyes, allow the eyes to flicker back open. And if you sat onto a prop, you can remove that prop from underneath you. Set it aside, keep it nice and accessible to use maybe later. Come to the top of your space. We'll start off in a little bit of a tabletop position here. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Just very lightly here, we'll take a few rounds of cat-cow. So it's inhale, lower the belly to the earth, curl the tailbone up and gaze upward. Exhale, untuck the toes, push the earth away from you and dome the spine, back ribs up to the ceiling. Inhale, tuck the toes, brace, look upward, fill the belly as you send the chest down low. Exhale, untuck the toes and press into the palms, middle of the back up to the ceiling and your chin lightly to the chest. Inhale, look up, drop the belly down. Exhale, untuck the toes, push into the palms. Good, a few more rounds. Inhale, look up. Exhale, tuck, dome into the spine, navel in. Inhale, look up. Let the belly come down. And exhale, tuck. Bring the belly in, chin to the chest. Good. Inhale, look forward to neutral. Then from here, tuck your toes under. Press the hips back, child's pose. Extend the arms. Place the forehead onto the mat. Just lengthen out a little bit here. You can shake it out left and right. Just get a little mobility, a little movement into the shoulders, into the upper body. Press your chest down. Really reach forward here. walk your hands to the right side of your mat. You can take the left hand on top of the right one. Open the left side body. So you're fanning the left ribs open, allowing the heart side of the body to find its biggest opening, its biggest extension. Breathe deep into it. Extend the left side. Now exhale, walk the hands back through center, and this time over to the left. You can take right hand onto the left hand if you choose. Just fanning open the right ribs on this side. So a slight compression onto the heart side of the body this time as you open the non-heart side. Keep reaching through it. Open, open, open. Good. Exhale, walk the hands back through center. Good. You can take your hands a little bit further up. Try to get a little more stretch. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. Inhale, forearms on the earth. Sweep yourself forward back into your tabletop. Reach the right arm forward and your left leg back. Flex the toes on your left foot. Exhale, bring the elbow to the knee under the body. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap, gazing to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. Inhale, reach. And exhale, tap. Good. Lower the hand and the knee back to the earth. Take the other side. Left arm forward, right foot back. Exhale, bring the elbow to the knee under your body. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. Inhale to reach. Exhale, tap. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. Inhale, reach. And exhale, tap. Good. Lower the hand and your knee back to the earth. Tuck the toes under. Start to press into the palms. On an exhale breath, move the hips back and up. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. For your first downward dog here, you can keep the knees very bent. Try to bring the sitting bones up to the ceiling and tilt your pelvis forward. Point the index fingers directly forward and spread the fingers nice and wide. Press down through all 10 knuckles, but a little bit extra through the index knuckle and the thumb knuckle. Turn your biceps out here. Stitch the triceps in toward the ears and the forearms in. So it's externally rotating the upper arms, internally rotating the forearms. Good. Last piece here. Just draw the shoulders a tiny bit away from the ears. Not too crazy. You don't want to bring them back too far and create a little strain and rounding. Instead, just a light reversal of the extension here. So you don't want to crunch into the ears. You don't want to be too far from them either, but just nice and natural, naturally extended. Finding some neutral extension through the spine. Breathe in. Breathe out. 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. Soften the knees and look forward. Then carefully tiptoe your way to the top of your space. Bring the big toes to touch, then catch your hips with your hands. Look forward. Inhale, press into the feet and stand up. Release the arms down to your sides. Tardasana. So pinkies are a little bit in, thumbs a tiny bit out, palms mostly facing toward the body. Stand nice and tall. Contract the thighs and lift the knees. Grow your torso as you breathe. Good. Inhale, reach your arms up. Bring the palms together and gaze up past the thumbs, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, crease at your hips and hinge forward. You can soften the knees if you need to. Bring the palms onto the earth, Uttanasana. Forehead to the shins, then inhale, extend your legs, look forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step your right foot to the back of your space in a lunge, then lower the knee, and inhale, sweep your arms up overhead for Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hinge forward, frame the left foot. Step the foot back, and then lower knees, chest, and chin to the earth. Inhale, slide forward, baby cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Squeeze the elbows in and lift the chest bone. Now exhale, press the hips back and up, downward facing dog. Inhale, step the right foot forward between your hands, lower your back knee, sweep the arms up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hinge forward, frame the right foot, tuck the left toes and inhale, extend, step the foot forward. Exhale, crease at the hips, fold, forehead to the shins. Inhale, press into the feet, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana, palms together. Exhale, take it back down, crease the hips, hinge forward, Uttanasana, palms on the earth. Inhale, look forward, finger points stay on the earth, extend the legs. Now exhale, step the left foot to the back of your space, lunge, lower the knee. Inhale, sweep the arms up, Anjaneyasana, palms together, gazing up. Exhale, hinge forward, frame the right foot, step back, lower knees, chest and chin. Inhale, slide forward, baby cobra, draw the faces of the shoulders back as you shift your gaze upward. Then tuck the toes, exhale, press the hips to the heels and through bent knees, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot between the hands, lower the back knee and sweep the arms up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, frame the left foot and step the right forward, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold, forehead to the shins, then inhale, press into the feet, stand up, reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, arms to your sides, Tadasana. Let's go through it again. Inhale, reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze past the thumbs. Exhale, bend your knees, hinge forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, look forward, extend and lengthen. Exhale, step the right foot to the back of your space. Lower the knee, untuck your toes, inhale, sweep the arms up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hinge forward, frame the left foot, and step back, lower knees, chest, and chin to the mat. Inhale, slide forward, Bhujangasana, cobra pose, keep the elbows bent. Exhale, tuck the toes under and move your hips to your heels, downward facing dog, lift up. Good. Inhale, step the right foot to the top of your space, lower the back knee, untuck the toes, and sweep the arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, frame the right foot, tuck the back toes. Inhale, step forward and lengthen. Exhale, fold, forehead to the shins. Inhale, press into the feet, stand up, reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, crease, hinge forward at the hips, soften knees if you need, forehead onto the shins. Then inhale, look forward, lengthen. Exhale, step the left foot back, lower the knee, untuck the toes, sweep the arms up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, frame out your right foot, step it back and lower, knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale, slide forward, cobra pose, Bhujangasana, project the chest bone forward. Then exhale, tuck the toes under, move the hips to the heels, through bent knees, downward facing dog. Inhale, step the left foot between the hands, back knee down, rise up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hinge forward, frame the left foot, tuck the back toes and step it forward. Inhale, lengthen, extend the legs. Exhale, palms on the earth, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, press into the feet, stand up, reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, arms to your sides, Tadasana. One more time. Inhale, reach the arms up, palms together, gaze past the thumbs. Exhale, hinge forward, crease at the hips, Uttanasana. Inhale, look forward, lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Then exhale, step the right foot to the back of your space, lower the knee. Inhale, arms up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hinge forward and frame the left foot, step back, lower, knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale, Bhujangasana. Exhale, tuck the toes under, hips to the heels and rise up, downward facing dog. Inhale, step the right foot between your hands, lunge, rise up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, frame the right foot, tuck the back toes. Inhale, step forward, lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hinge forward, forehead to the shins, Uttanasana. Inhale, stand up, reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bring it back down, Uttanasana, forehead to the shins, gazing past the nose. Inhale, look forward, lengthen. Exhale, step the left foot to the back of your space. Lower your knee. Inhale, sweep the arms up, palms together, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, frame your right foot and step back, lower knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale, slide forward, Bhujangasana, squeeze the elbows together, lift the chest bone. Exhale, tuck your toes, move the hips to the heels, and rise up, downward facing dog. Inhale, step the left foot between your hands, lunge, lower the back knee, rise up. Exhale, frame the left foot, tuck the back toes under, and inhale, step forward, lengthen. Exhale, fold, forehead to the shins, Uttanasana. Inhale, stand up, press into the feet, reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, draw the arms down to your sides, Tardasana. Good. Inhale, reach the arms up, bring the palms together, gaze past the thumbs, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, this time, step the left foot to the back of your space, high lunge. Reach the arms up. You can take a soft bend into the back knee here if it'll help you lift the chest and stitch the low ribs in. Breathe in. Breathe out 1. Inhale. Exhale 2, gazing forward. Inhale. Exhale 3. Good. Soften the left knee and move the left hip forward. 4 and 5. Good. Exhale, hinge forward, bring the left hand onto the mat, sweep the right arm up for a high lunge twist. Good. Gaze up past the right fingertips, draw the right shoulder back. Breathe in. Breathe out 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Move your head a little bit to the left. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. Good. Shift your gaze downward. Inhale, frame the right foot, and then lower your back knee to the earth. Exhale, press the hips back, flex your right toes, and take a runner's lunge here. So runner's lunge or half Hanumanasana. Lengthen the spine, reach forehead toward the shins. Left knee should be underneath your hip. Right toes are flexed. Keep hinging forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Soften the right knee. Bring the foot onto the earth. And then frame the foot with your 2 hands, palms on the earth. Tuck the left toes under. Step your right foot back. Hips back and up, downward facing dog. Good. Come forward to plank. Then bend your elbows lower halfway. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, untuck the toes, sweep the chest forward, extend the arms, upward facing dog. Exhale, press the hips back and up, downward facing dog. Good. Soften the knees and look forward. Inhale, step or float your feet between your hands, land and lengthen. Then exhale, fold forehead to the shins. Press into your feet. Inhale, stand up, reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bring your arms down to your sides, Tardasana. Breathe. Good. Inhale, reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, step the right foot to the back of your space, separate the hands. Good, so high lunge, deep bend into the left knee. You can take a soft bend into the right knee if it helps you to keep the torso lifted. Keep lifting upward, extend the spine, grow the torso, breathe in. Breathe out 1. Inhale. Exhale 2, good. Keep energetically reaching up with the hands. 3, 4, wrap the right hip bone forward. 5, good, that's it. Exhale, bring the right hand onto the earth, sweep the left arm up. Good, high lunge twist here. Gaze past the left fingertips. 1, 2, breathe in. Breathe out. 3, draw the left shoulder a little back. Inhale. Exhale 4, strong on the right big toe. Inhale. Exhale 5. Move your gaze downward. Inhale, bring the left hand onto the earth. Exhale, lower the back knee and move your hips back. Flex the left toes up, runner's lunge. Breathe in, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Try to get the sternum bone in line with your left knee if possible. 1, 2, keep wrapping the right hip forward and the left hip back. 3, 4, last one, lifted. 5, good. Soften the left knee, bring your left foot onto the mat. Frame the left foot out, then exhale, step back, hips back and up, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward, plank. Exhale, bend the elbows, lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, untuck the toes, lift, extend the arms. Thighs are off the mat here. Press the tops of feet down. Exhale, tuck the toes, move the hips back and up, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 5. Soften the knees and look forward. Inhale, step or float the feet between the hands, land and lengthen. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana, forehead to the shins. Good. Deeply bend the knees. Inhale, reach the arms up, Utkatasana, chair pose. Good. Sit the hips down low with your weight into the heels. If you take a quick peek down, you should be able to see the toes. Palms are together, or you can separate them at shoulder width distance. Keep reaching up through the upper body. Lift the chest bone, but exhale, tuck the tailbone under ever so slightly in order to activate the gluteal muscles. Good. Exhale, fold. Bring it down. Palms on the mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, look forward. Lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step or float your feet back, Chaturanga Dandasana. If you step, first pass through plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Lift up, chest bone projecting forward. Exhale, tuck the toes, move the hips back and up, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Keep tilting the pelvis forward. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Press down through the big toe joints. Inhale. Exhale, 5. Soften the knees and look forward. Inhale, step or float the feet between the hands, land and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Good. Take your middle and index fingers. Separate the feet about hip width distance here, so that's 2 fists width if you need to measure. Wrap the middle and index fingers around your big toes. Look forward and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Bend the elbows out to the sides of the room. Good. Lean your weight into your toes. Reach the forehead toward your shins and lift the sitting bones up. As you're pulling, try to draw the elbows a little bit more forward than the shoulders. To do that, you have to turn the front faces of the shoulders in. Good. Lengthen on the exhales, pull. Keep extending the spine. Soften your knees if you need to. Get your belly and your chest pressed into the thighs. That's it. Weight is forward. Crown of the head down. Forehead pointing to the shins. Give it 1 more good pull. Good. Extend the arms and look forward. Release the grip. Now step onto your palms, Padahastasana. Bring your toes all the way to your wrist creases. Inhale, look forward and lengthen. Exhale, fold, bend the elbows out to the sides once again. Try to draw your shoulders away from your ears as you're pulling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Extend the arms, look forward, release the grip. Bring the finger points onto the earth. You can take a little bit of a long Uttanasana here. Shake the legs out. Catch your hips with your hands and rise up to the top. Good. Gazes forward. Release your arms down to your sides. Tardasana. Bring the feet back together. Big toes touch. Outer edges of the feet stay parallel, even if the heels separate. Inhale, reach the arms up. Bring the palms together. Gaze up past the thumbs. Exhale, crease the hips. Hinge forward. Place the palms on the mat. Inhale, look forward and lengthen. Extend. Exhale, soften the knees. Palms on the earth. Step or float back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, press the hips back and up. Downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, step your right foot between your hands. Turn the back heel down and rise up for Warrior 1. Virabhadrasana 1. Bring the palms together here, or you can modify, open the arms out shoulder width. Keep the gaze upward. Keep the right knee bent, trying to bring it over the right heel, and keep the outer edge of your left foot planted into the mat nice and strong. Press the left hip bone forward. Try to move the top 3 inches of the left femur bone to the front of your space. Good. Lift up. Stay lifted strong. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more deep inhale. Deep exhale. Open the chest and the arms, warrior two. Move your right knee out to the right. Then you can slide the left foot back more to bring your right thigh bone parallel to the ground. Keep your positioning long, your gaze over the right fingertips. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in, grow the torso. Exhale, sink down. One more inhale. Deep exhale. Good. Inhale, reach the right arm up. Travel the left hand down the back side of your left leg, or you can wrap it around your back and catch the inner edge of your right hip. So I'm taking that bound variation here. Inhale, reach up. Peaceful warrior. Open the right side of the body. Breathe in. Breathe out one. Inhale. Exhale two. Inhale. Exhale three. Extend the right leg. Bring your right hand onto your shin and reach the left arm up. Utthita Trikonasana. Gaze up to the left fingertips unless this crunches into the soft muscles in your neck, in which case just gaze up as far close to the hand as you can. Good. Breathe in. Contract your right thigh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, lift the chest up. Now exhale, bring the hands to heart center. Keep your right leg extended and bend the left knee. Bring the hips down low. Flex the right toes for Skandasana, side lunge. If you can keep your chest lifted here like me with a full connection of the left foot onto the mat, then stay there. If your heel is lifted or you're slumping forward, just place your hands onto the mat for support. You could even use a bolster, a block here, whatever it is. Raise the earth up toward you. Nice and strong. Open into your right hip. Keep the toes flexed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Hands on the earth. Soften the right knee. Walk your hands up to the front of your space. Very carefully turn the back heel up and lower your left knee down onto the mat. Low lizard lunge. You can stay up here with the palms on the mat, or if you'd like, you can bring the forearms down onto the mat. So you're opening into the left hip here. The right knee is bent, but you open the front side of the left hip. Just allow yourself to sink down, broaden the upper chest, and try to see if you can keep a flat spine here rather than rounding and tucking, but instead extend, look forward. Take a little bit more than 5 breaths here. Let's go to 8. Breathe in. Breathe out, number 4. This is 8. Inhale and exhale. Good. Bring your palms onto the mat. Tuck your back toes under if you untuck them. Then exhale, step your right foot to the back of your space. Bend the elbows and lower, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Untuck the toes, extend. Exhale, tuck the toes, move the hips back and up, downward facing dog. Good. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale and exhale. One more deep breath in. Deep breath out. Good. Inhale, step your left foot between your hands. Turn your back heel down, push into the outer edge and rise up. Warrior 1. Palms together, move the right hip forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, open the chest, open the arms, slide the right foot out. Warrior 2. Move the left knee to the left and pick your hands up a little bit higher than the shoulders. Reach out, spread the shoulder blades and spread the chest. Breathe in. Breathe out 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. Good. Inhale, turn the left palm up. Reach high, you can travel the right hand. Peaceful warrior. Breathe in, reach up. Exhale 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Inhale, open the left ribs. Exhale, extend your left leg, bring the left hand onto your shin, sweep the right arm up. Triangle pose. 1. 2, draw the right shoulder a little back. 3, right hip forward and left hip back. 5. Good. Okay, from here, inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, Skandasana, hands to heart center. Bend into your right knee. Sit the hips down low, flex the left toes up, keep your chest lifted. Make a full connection onto the earth with the right foot. Breathe in. Breathe out 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Last exhale 5. Good. Carefully soften the left knee. Walk the hands forward to the instep of the left foot. Lower your back knee onto the earth. Low lizard lunge. Same options here. You can stay on the palms with the arms extended, or you can lower down forearms onto the earth. Either way, trying to extend the spine just a little bit. Breathe in. Good. 8 cycles of breath. Try to find a little quiet into the mind here, not by chasing away all of your thoughts, but instead by becoming dispassionate for them. So it's okay to have sensations, it's okay to have thoughts and feelings and emotions. It's very often for most of us not productive to try to push those things away, but rather learn to recognize that those things are separate from the self. Recognize that those things exist on top of the being that is you, rather than being you. So it's like waves on the ocean, like clouds in the sky. Those things exist on top of what they are. They're part of them, but are not the whole. Same deal with a human and thoughts, feelings, emotions. They're here to show us something, here to help us learn, but ultimately there's more to it than just that. Good. Place the palms onto the mat if you were onto the forearms. Tuck your back toes under. Exhale, step your left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, bend the elbows, lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, extend the arms. Now exhale, open the knees out wide, press your hips to your heels. Take a child's pose, breathe. Good. Maybe getting back in touch with your Ujjayi breath. If you can't hear it, make the breath audible again. Maybe keep an internal count of 4 for the inhale and the exhale. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So on and so forth, keeping your cycle of breath. Good. Press your palms into the earth. Walk your hands up toward the body. And then from there, you can just turn onto whichever side you choose. Sweep the feet around straight forward. Good. Sit up nice and tall. Press the palms into the earth and flex the toes, Dandasana. From Dandasana, we'll move straight into reverse tabletop. So you would bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet onto the mat. Inhale, lift the hips up and move the pelvis forward. You can allow the head to hang if the shoulders and the hips will fall in one line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, chin to chest. Exhale, lower the seat back to the earth. Good. From here, bend your left knee onto the earth. Slide your foot underneath the right thigh. Lift your right foot up and over to the outer edge of the left knee. Place your right hand to the base of your spine. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, hook your elbow outside of the knee. Very important here. If you are sitting on your foot, move the left foot more to the right side. That way you can sink the right sitting bone down onto the earth. Bring the right shoulder back. Open the right ribs as they reach back. Very little pressure here of elbow into knee. So rather than using a push off of the knee, you're just using the elbow here to anchor and using your upper body activation to twist deeper. Good. Breathe in. Sit up tall. Square the shoulders. Exhale. Draw the right shoulder back. Gaze over it. One more inhale. Good. Exhale. Look to center. Extend the feet straight out. Shake the legs, shake the legs, shake the legs. And now the other side. Slide the right foot underneath your left thigh. Bring it next to your left hip. Lift the left foot up and over and root to the outside of the right knee. Bring your left hand to the base of the spine. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend your elbow. Hook it outside the left knee. Same idea here. Notice how my foot is outside of the hip. I'm able to root my left sitting bone down. And from there, I can sit up nice and tall and take it over to the left side. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, left shoulder back and left ribs back. Be sure that you're making a full connection onto the earth with the left foot here. So my left foot is pressing down, the inner arch is on the earth. That way I can sit up even taller. Keep twisting over. Gaze over the left shoulder, bring it 1. Again, 2. Last one, 3. Good. Inhale, look forward. Extend the legs straight out. Paschimottanasana. Reach the arms up alongside the ears. Actually cancel. Let's take a different variation today. So reach your hands behind your back. Fingertips away from the body. Thumbs rooted firmly into the mat. Keep the toes flexed up. Inhale, lift your chest. Now exhale, push into the hands. See how this feels different from hooking the toes and hinging forward. So you might feel this a little bit more on the back sides of the legs, maybe more in the low spine. Maybe it doesn't feel any different at all. That's okay. It's your body. Everyone's a little bit different. Move the big toe joints a little bit more forward than the pinky toes. So you want inner edges of the feet pressing forward to lengthen the inner ankles and the outer edges pressing back. Good. Keep hinging forward. You can stay here with the finger points on the earth pushing into it, or if you'd like at this point, you can reach your arms forward, catch the outer edges of the feet, you can hold the big toes, whatever you choose. Inhale, lift up even more. Exhale, hinge forward. If you have a grip on the feet, bend the elbows out to the sides of the room. Work to bring your forehead to your shins, contract both thighs, and draw the shoulders down and back away from the ears. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Keep hinging forward into it. Try to keep the spine straight and the chest projecting forward. A few more breaths here. Two more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hinge. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hinge. Good. Extend the arms. Inhale, look forward and rise up to the top. Good. You can shake out the legs once again. Good. Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. Bend the knees, place the soles of the feet onto the earth. Carefully open the knees out to the sides and press the soles of the feet together now. Take your thumbs and grip around the big toe joints. Peel them open here like you're opening a book. Press the heels together, but keep peeling the big toes apart. Inhale, lift your chest up. Exhale, hinge forward. Now, if you're like me and you have very tight hips here, getting forward might be a little difficult. You can stay here as long as the spine is straight. If you are feeling a little bit more mobile and your hips are very open, you can bend the elbows onto the inner thighs and use them to draw the knees down, project the crown of the head forward, project the chest bone forward, and hinge. As you're coming forward, try to roll the sitting bones back. So feel for the sitting bones still rooted on the earth. The thighs should spin back and externally rotate here. Keep sending your heart forward, crown of the head to the front, tight grip onto the feet, thumbs at the balls of the feet. Good, one more deep inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release the grip, palms on the earth. Look forward, inhale, sit all the way up. Then take hands to the outsides of the knees. Carefully guide the knees back to midline. Good. From here, extend the legs straight out once again. Round 2 of reverse tabletop, or you have the option to take Purvottanasana. So reverse tabletop in position, you already know how to get there. Purvottanasana, same idea, except this time without bending the knees. Bring the soles of the feet down, turn the feet to the earth. Inhale, extend the arms, straight legs lift up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chin to the chest. Exhale, lower yourself down. Excellent. Good. Very carefully, just turn over onto your belly. From there, reach the hands down to your sides. Let the thumbs touch the earth. Forehead onto the mat. Inhale, lift the chest up and lift the legs up. Let the big toes touch and your heels separate. Point the knee joints down and rotate the pinky toes down toward the earth. Once you're at top, you can lift the hands up, palms stay facing in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, lower. Bring your left ear onto the mat and breathe. Good. Bend both knees. Bring the forehead onto the mat. Reach your hands back and grip the outer edges of your feet just below the toes. Forehead down onto the mat. Begin to tuck your tailbone away, rather curl your tailbone up toward the body. So you want that tailbone curling to help get the hips lifted off the mat. Now carefully inhale, press the feet into the hands. Let the chest come up, roll your weight forward onto the belly. Dhanurasana, bow pose. Knees should be about hip width distance, 6 inches. Draw the shoulders back, open your pectoral muscles. Good, keep pressing the feet into the hands. Weight onto the belly, tilt your head back and look for the toes behind you as you lift. Exhale, bring it down, release the grip. Right ear on the mat, turn face left. Turn your face down onto the mat. Press your palms into the mat, then tuck the toes under. Inhale, extend the arms, then sweep forward, upward facing dog. Good. Press the tops of your feet down into the mat. Keep the arms extended. Draw the shoulders back. Open your chest, gaze stays forward. Good. Stay lifted. You can shift the gaze upward if your anatomy will allow. Thighs are contracted and lifted off the mat. 3, 2, 1. Tuck your toes under. Exhale, hips back and up, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, bend the knees, lower them to the mat. Ustrasana. So Ustrasana, we'll start feet hip width distance apart, knees hip width distance apart, about 6 inches here. Take your hands to the back sides of your hips. Massage all these muscles and suggest the muscles up. Stay lifted, open into the chest. Now, framing out the sacrum, the flat bone at the base of your spine, tuck your toes. Draw the elbows together and the shoulder blades together. Inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, tilt your head back and move the sacrum forward to be over the knees. Every inhale, lift your chest bone up more. Every exhale, extend the crown of the head back. If you feel comfortable here, you can take both hands at the same time onto the heels. Keep lifted, keep the sacrum forward. Good, chest bone is up. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Big exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Good. With the help of your hands, walk your way back up. Have a seat onto the shins and breathe. Good, let's take one more round of Ustrasana. Stand onto the knees again. This time you can tuck the toes or leave them untucked. You can suggest all those back muscles upward again. So you want your entire backside body to be moving up to support you as you're coming into the backward bend, rather than allowing everything to sink into the low back. So suggest all these muscles up. You can even take hold of the glutes and lift them. Then frame out the sacrum. Draw the elbows together. Lift the chest up. Exhale, tilt the head back, move the sacrum forward. Every inhale, think up, lift, lift, lift. Every exhale, contract the belly, contract the glute muscles, contract the thighs. Keep lifted, keep sending the crown of the head back as you extend. Bring hands to the heels if you're ready. Stay lifted, chest is up. Breathe, breathe, breathe. One more cycle. Good. Bring the hands to the hips. Have a seat onto the shins. Breathe. Good. Place the hands to the mat, and then you can just flip over to your back. Lie down. Hold your knees. Don't pull them in just yet, but just hold the knees and resist the hands a little bit. So you want to press the knees up into the hands. Notice how this forces the tailbone down. So allow the tailbone to unravel. Press it into the mat. Then extend your left leg forward. Hold your right shin just below your knee. Draw the knee out toward the right shoulder and resist the pull. From there, relax the toes on your right foot, flex the toes on your left foot, drive your left heel away from your inner hip. Good. Tick-tock your right hip down. So a little bit of a counterclockwise motion here. Good. Now extend the right leg straight up, and with the help of your hands, you can guide your foot over to the left side across the body. Open your arms out to a T. Gaze is up, or if your anatomy will allow, bring the gaze over to the right. Inhale, come back through center. And this time extend the right leg straight out. Bend your left knee, hold your shin just below the knee. Draw the knee toward the left shoulder, relax the toes on the left foot, and flex the toes on the right foot. Contract your right thigh, drive your heel away from you, and keep drawing the knee in toward the shoulder. Good. Open the right side of the hip, compress the left half, then careful, extend the left leg straight up, and guide your leg over to the right side of the body. Open your arms to a T, once again gaze upward, and when the body will allow, over to the left. Inhale, bring the knee back through center. Extend both legs out. Then bend both knees up. Hold the knees again for just a breath. Then when you're ready, you can draw the knees into the chest. Good, pulling the knees in nice and tight here. You can give a little rock back and forward, massage the low spine out. Now I'll give you a few different options here to close off your practice. Number one, you can take a pillow, a block, some other sturdy prop, place it underneath your sacrum. Once again, that's that flat bone at the base of the spine. Just lift the feet up straight here. So you can keep the feet hovering. You can also do this without a prop. This feels a little bit better with something to support the sacrum, but you don't necessarily need. You could also do this at the wall. Feels really great with legs up the wall. Just allowing the blood pressure to come down, the heart rate to decrease a little bit, the body to stabilize. Option number two, follow carefully. You could take shoulder stand. So for shoulder stand, lift the feet straight up and press onto the back sides of the arms, onto the shoulders. Hands come onto the low back. Fingertips are facing up as you reach the toes up. Now it's very little pressure in the neck here. Instead, all of your weight, or most of your weight, is in the back sides of the arms and in the shoulders. Keep the toes stacked over the hips about above the shoulders rather than the head, so you keep everything in one strong line. Hover here for a few breaths, breathe. Good, now shoulder stand you can stay, or take halasana, plow pose, by flexing the hips and allowing the toes to come down to the earth behind your head. Good. If the toes do touch, then you can release your hands from the low back, interlace the fingers and press the forearms into the mat. Then plow pose, if you want to take it into Karnapidasana, you can bend the knees and wrap them around the ears. Good, if you feel so inclined, you can even take the hands and wrap them around the back sides of the legs, holding in tight and cutting off all sound. Good, no matter where you are, very carefully unravel yourself down onto your mat, one vertebra at a time. If you took feet up the wall, Karnapidasana, just keep the legs straight up, shoulder stand making your way down, point the toes, lift onto the forearms, and tuck the top of your head onto the mat, lifting the chest up for Matsyasana, fish pose. Good. Breathe, breathe, breathe. If you did take Karnapidasana, rather, if you took Viparita Karani, that is, legs straight up, then carefully bring the feet down, place the soles of the feet together, and open the knees. So legs up, your counter posture is Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly. You can take hand onto heart, other hand onto your belly, maybe the hands to the inner thighs or at your sides. And if you took shoulder stand, your counter posture is Matsyasana, fish pose, lifting up, arching into the chest, opening the throat. Whichever you're in, take a few cycles of breath. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Good, and carefully make your way down for Shavasana. Arms at your sides, palms face up, the toes fall out to the sides. Feet relax, knees relax, hips relax, spine, shoulders, elbows and wrists, fingertips all relax. Relax your neck, relax your head. Relax the eyes and the sockets behind them. Allow everything to just melt away now. Let the breath take you deeper. And now remember, any thoughts or feelings, any sensations that come up in the body or in your mind, they can just pass. There's no need to attach to them, no need to judge them or control them. Recognize that they're just on the surface, and all that is you lies so much deeper. Start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, roll your wrists, roll your ankles. Inhale, reach your right arm alongside your right ear, and then turn onto your right side using the bicep as a pillow. Place your left hand onto the mat. Carefully push yourself up to the top. Then come to sit facing front in a comfortable seat. Just take a moment here, sit the spine up tall. You can close your eyes if you'd like. Be with yourself. Namaste. Thank you so much, Argos. I'll see you all again very soon. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Namaste.